Welcome to the first of 2, maybe 3 videos where we're going to be restoring some life and upgrading many parts on the front end of my E46 M3. These videos are going to show the full process from start to finish, all in one video, starting with the front suspension. The rear end was done a couple of years ago, but the car has barely moved since then, and now it's time to focus on the front as we prepare this car for what will hopefully be many Nürburgring laps. This work took a lot of time and ended up recording hundreds of hours of content. This video is all about everything in the wheel arches. In the next video we'll be focusing on the engine, oil cooling and power steering system. I tried to make this video a little bit more interesting than previous barn videos by using better cameras, more angles and only moderate levels of waffle. Also, having everything done in the one video end to end, I'm hoping will make it more watchable. Although the runtime, Anyway, I hope you enjoy it. E46 M3 front end refresh part 1, rusty suspension.
Alright, we're continuing work on the M3 today, so we're going to do the front end in this video. We're going to be refreshing the suspension and anything that needs any attention. I've not brought the key for the car though, that's a bit strange, so hopefully we can get it on the ramp. Alright, so we're going to strip the front end down, so wheels off, bumper off, front suspension off, and then we'll see what needs replacing. This has not really been touched for a number of years, and yeah, I remember seeing some interesting things before. I mean, yeah, there's going to be some corrosion and stuff, but let's just get into it. That gives you an idea of what we're working with. Crikey. So we're going to start by taking the bumper off. To get the bumper off, I need to get these wheel arch liners out, I think. I don't really remember. But this is all nasty anyway, so we should try and see what we can fix here. Even the steel that's in the hose for the brake cooling is rusted. Alright, I've just been looking at the front end, thinking about what we're going to do, and I don't have any dates booked or anything. It's towards the end of December today, and I think we better just do everything so it's done and it's ready for the ring next year. So we'll just strip everything down, we'll put new wheel bearings and stuff in as well. Just do everything, just like what I did with the rear end a couple of years ago. Yeah, it's been that long. Yeah, where to start? Well, maybe we'll just start on the corners, pull the brakes off, pull the suspension off. Yeah, this is going to be very strippings. I was looking for the brake pedal depressing tool so we could hold some brake pressure on and take the brake lines off, but it's doing the same job currently on the Civic, and yeah, if we take it off then all the brake fluid will fall onto the Integra, and yeah, I've ordered another one, so we'll have to wait for that to come to get the brakes off. But let's just do the other things. Maybe we can get the coilovers off. They're really nasty, man. Let's try and get these coilovers off. Well, nobody expected that to happen. Well, I was hoping the bungee cords would hold that, but it's too much weight. Now I'm in a predicament. They normally seize on though, so it's good that that didn't happen. Alright, maybe we can just take the brake caliper off and have that hanging. No! I thought there's usually a pin on the coilover, which once you put the bolt in it kind of locks onto. And I thought that's what just happened, but no. Okay. size of those brake pads. Now, these wheel bearings don't feel bad by any means, but I mean, I've never changed them, and I've had the car nearly 9 years now, so probably not a bad idea just to do it all. Those brake bolts come out real nice, yeah, when I did the caliper side, but they're covered in grease, covered in copper grease, which is still greasy. You see how it's still greasy, the grease? That's interesting, right? Because they've been hot, you know, I've not used this car a bunch, but it's definitely had some heat in it, but the grease is still greasy. That's interesting. Alright, I'm going to undo the top nuts for the strut, and then we should be able to just lift it out. Putting a little bit of wood underneath so we can at least try and control the descent a little bit. This was a lot easier with the weight of this on it. Alright, that kind of worked. That's one. I'm just thinking what we want to do about the bottom arms and stuff. So it's a wishbone, you've got a ball joint here and a ball joint on the inside and then a busher at the back. Do we just want to change them anyway? I can't remember if I've ever actually changed them on this car. I'm going to take the hub off because I want to paint this anyway. I could do the wheel bearing in situ, but I want to do a little bit of rust prevention, rust fixing, I guess. These nuts are going to be hard to get off, but let's see. Alright, not terrible. Just thinking I will probably reuse these on the drift car. So I'll put new ones on this and put these old M3 ones on the drift car. That sounds like a good idea. Well, I'm amazed they just came off without getting stuck. That is incredible. Now comes the fun part. I'll take that disc off. Excuse me, sir. Thank you. Articulation. That's making the most of McPherson, having a ball joint on the inside. Continue hammering. We're going to try a ball joint splitter instead. I don't normally like using them because they damage the boot, but I don't think I'm going to reuse this part anyway. Maybe. We'll see what it comes out like. These things can be quite scary when they go. I kind of want to step back a little bit. Ah, that wasn't so bad. Just leaves that guy in the middle. We'll try a harder hammer. This is my granddad's hammer, you might remember. Granddad died yesterday. That's not good, is it? But we'll carry on the legacy in the hammer. This is a harder face, right? So risks doing damage, but it might do what we need it to do. If I can stop tickling it. Alright. Aha! There we go. Alright, we'll get the rest of the stuff off later. For now, I'm going to get the other side, and then we'll take a look at them on the workbench. I just dropped my camera there, so hopefully it's going to be okay. I'm sure it'll be fine. Alright, so the coilovers, these are Bilstein Club Sport coilovers. They're very expensive new. Hopefully they're okay. I can see some fluid here. A little bit of fluid at the top. Won't see Hopefully it's not a seal gone, but we'll have a look. Let's leave the coilovers to one side for now. Let's split these hubs down. Oh, so there's a big difference there in the wheel bearings. So this one's super free, and this one feels kind of gunked up, but I think it's the kind of gunked up feeling that you want, right? I mean, they both feel perfectly usable, but we'll put new ones in. So can we get these out? Oh, can't even get the tool in. How are you supposed to clean these bars out then? If you've got bars like this and they're rusty, Allen head, this is a 10mm Allen bolt. How are you supposed to do that? And the threads are a lot better than the heads anyway. More copper slip intact. I'm putting masking tape on everything that comes off the right hand side. And the opportunity to use a little Makita kit, eh? Maybe that was a bit ambitious. Oh, that's a long one. It's got a big spacer on the back to space it away from the disc, I guess. The top hats on the coilovers use these bolts with a little square on the end, but they always fall out. Look, all 6 of them fell out. I don't know if this is like an aftermarket thing or not, but try and keep them together. They're the lowest shock bolts. I think these are meant to be not replaceable, unreusable. What's the word? Single use. So these ones, these are for reusing. They're maybe not. Alright. These coilovers then. I think they look a lot worse than what they are. I mean, they look pretty bad. I was worried maybe the springs were gonna snap or something, but what we'll do is we'll strip them down. Yeah, see if we find any delights. I don't think there's too much spring tension. But yeah, these are very expensive two-way Bilstein coilovers, which should be very good on the Nordschleifer. Well, I've never worked on coilovers like this before. It might take me a little bit to figure out, but let's strip them down and start cleaning. There's obviously a grommet there, but if we take these 2 bolts out, I don't know what's going to be underneath there. Let's have a look. I don't think the orientation of that matters. But yeah, we could have just got to the nut by popping that out, but whatever. I don't think this is under any spring tension. Well, there's a little bit of spring tension, but I don't think it's enough to be worried about. We'll soon find out anyway. I mean, I can pull the tension off on the helper spring, so yeah, it's fine. That is one girthy strut. The dust boot's kind of tangled up in the spring on this one. Not ideal, but not terrible. This is still the favourite. It's very good. I mean, they all piss in the same pot, don't they? But well, good results with that one. Alright, something I'm immediately a little bit concerned about. I can see oil residue. So what might have happened is, you know, with the dust boot being up, maybe some salt or some grit or whatever has got in and damaged that seal. Or we can give it a classic damper test. You know, if we just push down, well, let's clean it up a bit first. I mean, the actual dust seal itself here looks fine, and the actual sealing ring is further down, but fuck. Well, it's still damping. I don't know, it's probably fine. There's definitely a little bit of residue on there. I'm not sure how concerned to be about that. And apparently, according to the chat robot, that's nothing to worry about. But I would also like to start cleaning them a little bit. So what I did with the rear dampers was just basically scrubbed most of this rust away. Just scrubbed it away, and then I coated it with some AC50, some kind of metal protectant stuff. I think this looks worse than what it is. It's a bit disappointing that such an expensive damper could, you know, corrode like this. So if we look at like the rustiest bit here, so these are coated with something from the factory which is supposed to, you know, help with corrosion, like an anti-corrosion kind of thing, right? I'm just giving that a little scrub, but yeah, underneath it's still kind of bad. So, I mean, I think on the rears I was being quite polite, trying not to take off the anti-corrosion stuff that's on there, but I mean, come on, we're wasting this time a little bit there, aren't we? These threads, ideally I could do with like a tap the same size as this and then just run it down, right, to clean the threads, or maybe get an old coilover ring and kind of adapt it. But yeah, I think the easiest thing to do is probably going to be using a paint removal disc on the grinder. That's probably going to be the fastest way to get this off. It does mean losing the stickers, or we can try and save the stickers, but I mean, look at that. Yeah, it's actually pitted a bit, pitter bread. Yeah, I need to get some new discs before we do that, but that was just a little test. Yeah, I think that's going to be the way to do it, and then we'll just coat it ourselves with something to protect it. I can show you what the rears look like. So the rears looked just like the fronts, and I mean they're not perfect, but to say they've been sat around here for a few years as well. Look what happens to stuff when it's sat in the barn, you know. So that was coated with, I think, AC50. Alright, it's a few days later and I've bought a few things. These were all things that I could have done with the other day, and I figured I'll just buy some stuff because I've not bought any stuff for the barn for a while. I've got a new stool, height adjustable. I've got another trolley because trolleys end up full of stuff and it's nice to have a few trolleys, right? I've got the brake pedal depressor so we can get the front brakes off. I've got the parts washer, so we'll be dealing with that first, seeing what this is. It's just a mini worktop parts washer, worktop bench parts washer. Yeah, looking forward to trying that. And then I got some dollies because I remembered the key. I've got the key, I think. Did I bring the key? Yeah, I brought the key for the car, but even if I didn't have this still, we'd have been able to put the car on dollies and move it, and then it would be on the ramp better, because it's not on the ramp very good where it is now. But yeah, I bought all the things that would have made the other day better, and now we can see if they are good or not, or something. Let's wash some parts. That's what I'm most looking forward to. One thing I didn't buy was any of these discs. A good reason for that is the size. I got scared. So I bought these ones before, right? But the center hole's too small. This is what mine is. That's that. I think maybe it's the difference between a 100mm 4-inch grinder and a 4.5 inch or 115mm one maybe. So yeah, they don't fit. So I need to buy some more like that, but maybe we can still use this. Anyway, parts washer. All right, so these are a part which a lot of people offer. I'm pretty sure they offer the same part. I just scratched the lid open in the box, that's good. So it's pretty sure it's the same part from like Clark, there's Draper, you know, all the usual Sealy, all the usual like branded China ones. They all seem to offer the same part. So yeah, I just bought the one that was cheapest and could get it the next day, which this company was. This is SGS, which a lot of the British people might recognise. I don't think I've had any of their gear before, but it's just the same stuff, right? It's Clark and all that. It must all come from the same place. So I just wanted somewhere to wash parts, right? And I was just going to buy like a basket or something. Yeah, so there's a tank, a little pump at the bottom of it. So you fire some fluid in there, that it runs through the motor and comes out here, and then you wash your parts. You can get attachments for this little hose end as well to put like brushes on and stuff. I just bought some brushes. I think this was £45. So I just wanted somewhere to wash parts. I've never owned anything like this before. It's got like a little grill there to drain back through, and then there's a filter on the pump as well. So all the shit that you wash, doesn't block up the pump in theory. But yeah, let's give it a shot. So I've got this degreaser left over from something else, MR2 gearbox stuff. This is just screw fix degreaser. It's neat at the minute, and that's about 4 litres worth. And the tank on here is 10 litres. So what I need to do is I'm going to mix this, probably not 1 to 1, but I'm going to water it down a bit. We'll pour about 2 litres in and then fill the rest of 8 litres of water. That should be a nice mix. So yeah, I've poured about 2 litres in. This is just water. More. Got some new brushes. Got some big boys. I want to just buy some nylon brushes. You can't. You have to buy it as a kit. Alright, so all I'm going to do is, we've got some dirty parts here, right? This is the helper spring. We're just going to shoot water down into it whilst scrubbing it with a clean brush. Scrub, scrub, scrub. Yeah? Alright, let's test this out. Oh. It's definitely got some force to it. Maybe a bit too much. I don't think it's adjustable. Spraying. Quite a lot of sprayings. Anyway. Yeah, a lot of splash. I mean, it works. The pressure's a bit high on this, I think, but I mean, it's probably better than having not enough. Alright, let's get washing. Got an idea. Sort of. Don't worry, I've got 3 other fingers. Kinda works. Oh, they didn't sell the attachment, by the way, that's what we're faffing about. We could go to Machine Mart and get one, but maybe this is more fun. Kinda works. Look at these brushes, look how fucked up that is already. What the fuck? That's impressively shit quality, even for Amazon. So I mean, these are the bits that I actually bought the part for, in a sense. But yeah, look at the state of that with all the grime on it and stuff. Much better. And of course these dust boots. Yeah, these are going to be fun, aren't they? Alright, not perfect, but that's a lot better, isn't it? Of course you can just buy these brand new, and I don't think they're that expensive, but may as well just clean them and reuse them. This one's a little bit damaged. I think it's salvageable. We'll try and fix it after cleaning it. Maybe it's better if I just get these springs coated. Maybe that'd be better. So I'm not going to clean the top mount bearings with this, although they could definitely do with some greasing and love. But the actual plates, I'll give a little clean. Right, yeah, the parts washer is pretty good for the money. Yeah, not bad. Could do with a bit like a sprinkler or something on there with a few more holes out of it, just to the flow's too much, sprays all over. So yeah, I need to try and figure that one out. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the purchase for like, I don't know, it was like less than 50 quid. So just have something to wash small parts with, not bad. The only thing that I've not been able to clean out of the top half is these top mounts, right? So there's a spherical bearing in this top mount, and this one's not too bad. This one looks clean-ish, a little bit of corrosion there on the backside, but not too bad. Pull that out so you can see. Not too bad. But I've got another one in the vise, and this one looks a lot worse. So that one's got quite a lot of corrosion going on. We'll see more when we get it out. I just found a circlip in the back of it, so I'm thinking these might be serviceable. So we're going to have a go at splitting the bearing out, and then we'll be able to tell if it's a bearing that we can just find on the shelf somewhere, or if we need to order it from Bilstein. Anyway, yeah, so there's a bearing here. This is a spherical bearing, right? And the top mount, or where the strut connects to the top mount, uses this little 14mm nut. And what we're going to try and do is use a 14mm bolt, M14 bolt, and we're going to try and pull it out using the nut that's on the back side, right? So I've not tested this yet. Let's see if it works. I don't want it to damage the actual body. I mean, it's not bad, is it, by any means? But while we're here, let's try and get it out. Oh, it's got tight.
Get ready, everybody. He's about to do something stupid.
Can't be far off now. Cool. So yeah, quite a lot of pitting on that actually. I mean, that would have been fine, right? That probably would have been fine, but when I'm at the Nürburgring, I don't want to be changing stuff like this. So, try and get another one of them. Does anyone notice what's happened? Outer race is still there. Oh well, that's not too uncommon, is it? So yeah, that ball should be in that socket. But never mind. This is a weird shape as well. It's kind of tapered. Can you see how it tapers up at this top edge? So that might make getting a replacement difficult, but I'll have a look into it. What? Alright, so it looks like the bearings aren't readily available for such a specialist coilover. Maybe I'll have to go through a dealer. I think Darkside have got a relationship with Bilstein, so I'll ask them if they can maybe get me some new bearings. Otherwise, we'll take measurements of the casing and we know the thread size, so we might be able to find something that'll fit. Alright, so everything's pretty clean now, apart from the dampers, obviously. We're going to tackle them next. The springs, I mean, what do you think? That's the helper spring, obviously. And it's got some corrosion coming through, but do I just replace them, or do I paint them, or do I get them coated? I don't know. I'm going to have a think about that. And also, you know, we're not going to have this back together anytime soon because we need to figure out what's going on with these bearings. Hopefully I can just buy a replacement. I took the measurements and we'll see. If not, we'll have to, I don't know, figure something out. But anyway, everything can just live in here for now. Now we do have one thing to solve. You know, spot the difference there, right? So the top is being pressed in. It's not going to sit out anymore. And the bottom is no longer round. I'm hoping with a bit of heat we can manipulate that out. Let's do that next. So I'm going to try and find a socket that fits in there, or something that fits in there, and then we'll try and mold that around it, heat it up, and hopefully it takes shape. I don't know, it's probably been like that for a number of years, so maybe it won't want to go back, but it's worth a try. Alright, to get the top to stick up, I'm just going to try and do the same, but put too much pressure on. Well, that split and then kind of sort of welded itself back together, but I don't know. Bollocks. I think if I'd have just left it with the pressure, the weight of itself, rather than pressing down on it, I think that would have been fine. Oh well, there you go. I think we can safely say we got it back, but just went too far with the heat in the end and broke it there, right in the corner. Oh man, that's a shame, isn't it? And there's no point buying just one new dust boot, is there? I've been adjusting the audio level, sorry it's been a bit loud, but yeah, I cleaned up the bottom bits, and yeah, we're just going to scrub all of this now with the paint remover disc. Including the stickers, unfortunately. Goodbye, stickers. Alright, so I think that looks a lot better. You can see a lot of pitting now from the rust, from the corrosion. It's only on the surface level, right? So, I mean, if we didn't try and sort this, maybe that would just keep getting worse and eventually eat into the damper itself, right? Well, you know, might actually affect the piston coming up and down, or whatever it's called. For these threads, you can see that I've not actually used these threads, right? So those threads haven't actually been used, but look at the state of them. I mean, you can tell they've not been used. All right, so something I do have, which you might be able to use here, is a thread file to figure out what thread pitch this is. Maybe a bit of lube would be nice. A little comparison just before I get started on the other side. So yeah, we've got usable threads now, and hopefully we can stop the body from corroding anymore. I've not done anything at the top yet. That'll have to come, that'll come later. Yeah, I'm gonna get on with the other side now, and then we can get it coated. I best make sure I've got the coating stuff right. I think I've got it. I think it's over there somewhere. Huh. Anti-corrosion formula. Yes, please. Best before June 22. Well, it's only December 25, so I'm sure it'll be fine. Alright, I think that's probably pretty good. Okay, so they're not perfect, but let's give them a shot, eh? So I'm just going to try and thread on one of the collars. I was hoping to slip past the tape. Now we're going to expect some friction, right? We're going to expect some friction, but how much? Oh, 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 oh shit! Look at that! I mean, the bottom, I'm about 3 threads off the bottom, and it's just starting to get tight. All right, well, I wasn't sure if those threads would even be savable, but here we are, just spinning. 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 All right, that's really good. I'm really happy with that. Honestly wasn't sure if we were going to be able to save them, but here we are. Should have done that the first time. It's way better. Alright, I've made a little rig for us to coat these. I spent some more time cleaning threads. I need to clean the coilovers still, but just a bit of wood. Yeah, just a bit of wood, and underneath the anti-roll bar part we'll have to do that again afterwards. But I'm just going to give them a final little clean, degrease, coat them. Yeah, good to go. I could just rebuild the car with these tomorrow. We could be done, but I don't know. I'm still thinking. Alright, I'm not 100% sure what the proper way of putting that on is, but that's what I've done in the past. I originally bought this for my BCs about 5-6 years ago, so those ones that are on the MR2, and they still look pretty good, so hopefully it works. I don't know, obviously this is pretty much bare metal, so I don't know if it's meant for that, but yeah, the rears still look good. We'll leave that overnight, and then tomorrow we'll put another coat on, let that set a little bit. Obviously it's dripping a little bit, it's all running to the bottom, so I might give it another wipe. I probably put too much on. Yeah, I put too much on there. A little bit too much. I think it's just meant to have a light film, but yeah, we'll see what it looks like tomorrow. Well, there is one thing just to discuss quickly, right? So the other day when we pressed the top mount bearing out, I was confused as to why it had a taper on it. I've never seen a bearing with a taper on it. I think I caused that taper. I've never been able to do that before, but I think I was pressing it out up against the tool, right? We're going to prove that today by pressing out the other side. So I've got a little circlip in there. Can you see it? Just about. Got a little circlip to get out there. And then we're going to try and press this out, but I'll use a bigger cup that goes all the way around, and yeah, hopefully we'll get a nice clean bearing outer race. Because at the minute, this is NLA from Bilstein. Same for the dust boots. We're going to have to do something else there, but yeah, we're going to have to fix this ourselves. So hopefully we can get a nice clean bearing out and get some good measurements. I mean, we can just measure the bore as well, of course. So yeah, I think we'll be able to get a bearing, but let's try and get this out cleanly. Just remembered I bought some good pliers. I forget if I'm using these wrong. Are these meant to be inside-y pliers or outside-y pliers? Well, it worked either way. So yeah, I'm going to use a cup that just goes all the way around this time. So what's interesting, when I was looking at the footage, I actually felt a change in resistance, but it was still pulling, so I just kept going. It didn't feel bad or anything, but I think that was probably the deformation. I mean, that was a lot easier. I would normally do that by hand, but it felt, I saw movement straight away, so yeah, that's how you remove the bearing properly then, maybe. Yeah, that looks a lot better. No weird taper on that. So we'll get some measurements. We should just be able to get something off the shelf. I'm going to do that now, actually. Let me see. Hey. All right, so let's measure the outer race, which is pretty much 35. Center should be just bigger than 14. Oh, it's a lot bigger than 14. It's nearly 18. So 35 and 18. And then we have the length, which I'm not sure if it must include it all, right? 23. Or is it just that bit? 16. I don't know. Let's have a look. It'll tell us on the diagrams. Well, there's a bearing there. It's more money than what I thought it would be. £37 plus VAT. But yeah, look, we've got the measurements. So 18, 35, 23 and 16. So 23 must be including the sticky out bits, whatever you may call them. But yeah, you get the idea. I'm going to try and find something more suitable. Alright, the good news is this is a really common bearing size. 18 in the middle, 35 on the outside, 16 and a half of the outer race, I think, and 23 all in, right? It's a really common size. The bad news is I can only find unbranded generic stuff. I can't find any decent names to go for. And I scrubbed the dirt off this one, and I can't see any names on this either. So maybe that's what Bilstein went with, but nice to know it's a common off-the-shelf part, so we can get a replacement. I'm just going to have to spend some time trying to find something. I'd rather put something branded in there, right? Where's my Coyos at? Where's my JDM bearings? I don't know, we'll see. Anyway, let's get these bearings disassemblings. How do we want to do this? So this is your front hub. This is where the wheel goes, obviously, brake caliper. There's a wheel speed sensor there. We'll have to replace that. We're not getting that out. But this needs to come off of here for us to get the bearing out. I've never done one of these before. I guess maybe underneath there's like a cap here. Maybe under this cap we'll find what we're looking for. This is not wanting to come off. That's pretty in there. That's a big nut. We might need a puller for this. I don't think I've got a puller like that. May have to order one. So there's a little locking tab there. We'll get that up. That's a big old boy, that. I don't know how I'm going to get that out. I definitely don't have a socket that big. Unless it's just not tight, because is it like a trailer wheel bearing? Surely not. Must be tight, right? I might actually have to look up how to do this. I had to buy a new tool. And the new tool is this very, very big socket. This is a 46mm socket to get these front hubs apart. Oh, here is a front hub. And there is a big nut that we should be able to get out with this. Okay. Lovely stuff. That was tight. So now this is just going to lift off. Just going to lift off. Oh, we might have to get another tool. I don't think I've actually got a puller that can do that. Whoops. So the threaded part stays still, but we need to get this outer bit off. We need to get the hub flange off and the bearings part of the hub flange. So how are we going to do that? These are the original FAG bearings, which is what we're going to replace them with as well. Yeah, this one's definitely a little bit more rough. Not terrible, but that one's not too bad. Maybe that one was changed. I mean, they look similar age on the flange, right? But anyway, I think we're going to try and press them out. Well, in order to do it this way, I need to get this into here, right? And I can't do that. Maybe if I take these studs out, we'll be able to do it, but I don't think so. These studs are going in the bin anyway. We've got some new ones. By the bin, I mean probably on the drift car, but same difference. I'm just trying to melt the thread locker, right? I'm trying to melt the thread locker. Okay, now will it fit? No. No. We need to get a puller on there to pull it off. The bearings really come alive without the nuts on, with a bit of heat in. You see that? So once the brakes get hot, the bearings get worse? Hey, maybe.
Right, I was never going to get these off without a puller tool, which I thought I had, but I hadn't. So I've ordered one from the Bezos man. Should be here tomorrow. In the meantime, let's have a look at these wheel arches. First thing we need to do is get the brake calipers out of the way. So I'm going to install a brake pedal depressing tool.
I'm sure a lot of you know this, but the idea is put a bit of pressure on the brake pedal and then you can crack the lines off and you'll lose a little bit of fluid, but it stops the system from bleeding itself out, right? When it's going to be stationary for a few weeks. Well, hopefully a few days, but you know. Right, now I should be able to crack these without too much effort. Well, the effort to crack them is going to be the same, but we shouldn't lose all of our fluids. That'll be nice. And the last thing we want here is for this brake line to stick to the union, right, to the fitting. We don't want that to happen. Also don't really want penetrating fluid in our hydraulic system, but everything's going to be downstream here, right, so it should be fine. So that is an 11, and then I need a 17, I think, for the bottom. Perfect. See how the union's moving, the fitting's moving, but the line's staying still. Perfect. There's definitely a fair bit of corrosion on the fitting. I'd rather that didn't go into the brake system, but I just went to use the compressor, but we've got no compression. The pneumatics are down. Let's try and figure out why. Alright, so the good news is that it was just the fuse, but I mean that's also the bad news, right? Although this may actually be a 16 amp motor in there, you know, maybe it's not meant to be off of a 13 amp wire. I mean, it's got proper strong wire and that, but this has never happened before, and I've had it a while now, but we'll stick another fuse in and hope. I had to steal this from a Makita grinder, so contact. It was a fuse. Maybe I need to buy a pack of them. That's not shutting off. That was open. Ever so slightly, that was open, so maybe it's been running full whack for a bit. Oh well. I mean, all I wanted to do was clear out, blow away some of that corrosion, all the loose stuff, just to avoid any risk of it going in this line. So we'll probably see a little bit of dribbles here, but it shouldn't be too bad. There we go, look. And that's where we use a brake pedal depressor. What would be good is to have some fittings to screw into there now that were like blanks. Let's just have an air leak instead. Oh, no air leak. That's weird. Let me see if I can make something. I found two examples from before. These are just old brake fittings with lines clamped, so hopefully that'll stop fluid pissing out. So these are painted steel lines from BMW. I actually replaced this a few years ago with a BMW part before I knew how to make brake lines. You can just buy them with fittings on from BMW, or you used to be able to. I don't know if you still can. You see the paint often sticks to the fitting, so it can be a pain, but let's see. Here we go. Alright, so now we're having a problem because the fitting is stuck to the brake line. Most likely be that painted stuff, like I said a minute ago. So we can just persevere trying to break it free. Or what we can do is leave it be, because these are aftermarket brake hoses. We can just undo the lower part. Alright, so I am able to get this off, but look, this is stuck together so much so that I don't even have to put a spanner on it. These were some super cheap bungee cords. I didn't trust them, but they held, so that's why there's two. And that's annoying, but it's not the end of the world. It's not going to stop. It's not going to stop me doing from what I want to do, so it is what it is.
I'm going to remove the roll bar now, and because I originally intended for this to be one big video, right, I'm going to be crossing swords a little bit with the other video that I'll end up making, but yeah, I'm planning here to get rid of the roll bar. Got a 30mm, it's a 30mm roll bar. I think it's too big. I was hoping to put my original one back on it, but yeah, I couldn't find it. So, but yeah, I'm just taking it off now to get it out of the way, and I did end up repainting it, refinishing it a little bit because it was quite rusty. But yeah, we're just getting that out of the way now, and then we'll get back on with the wheel arches.
There's quite a bit of corrosion in here as well, which you probably saw on the when we were taking the brake lines off, right? There's quite a lot of corrosion in here. And I would like to do something about that. I'm not going to go absolutely mental. I'm not going to try and do anything crazy, but I think I will at least cover that up a little bit. Just paint some black over it. No, I'm joking. We'll get rid of the worst of it and just do some like black spray for now or something. I'm not, you know, I'm not that guy. You know, I'm not that guy. I just don't want it getting any rustier, but in order to have a good look at it, I'm going to pull this wheel arch liner off, which might not go back on. We'll see. It might not go back on. There's an interesting bit of rust here as well. Yeah, so this car definitely wants some TLC at some point, but I don't think now's the time. Ahead of a year of, well, you know, this car will hopefully do a fair few laps at the ring. So I don't think, you know, having it too pretty is it's not really on my radar, right? But anyway, let's get this pulled off and cleaned up. So there's some plastic fittings here, and then there's a few crusty looking screws that hold that in, and then that should just pop out, and then we'll see if there's any corrosion hiding behind. I don't think there will be, but you know, maybe that's just from a stone chip. We'll see. Oh, these have got like pins in the middle of them, have they? How'd you get them out? You see there's like a little centre part. How do you get that out then? I guess these are flush because they're in the wheel arch, right? So that, yeah, it doesn't have contact with tyre, but oh, that one just went inside. Maybe we just push them through. Maybe they're single use. Nope, they're just rounding off straight away. Okay, so everything's just breaking. Maybe we should leave it alone. Nah, I'll use a grinder. I'll just, because the battery was already on it, I thought I'd try it. The wheel arch goes, the liner goes way down. There's a good chance this won't go back in, you know, because if you look, it's already been getting some tyre damage. So maybe we don't reinstall this. There we go. All right, one down, I think 8 or something. No, 1, 2, 4, 5, 4 to go. It's been a while since I've used a little park cider. Fuck. Why use an impact screwdriver when you can... This might go very wrong. Haha. Well, none of these are actually corroded on the thread side, at least, on the screw side. Just all the heads that I've rotted away. It looks like I might have to take the side skirt off. Let's lift it up. So it looks like I need to take this plate off. So there's another 2 screws here. One at the back, which is very rusty. Very, very rusty at the back. And then maybe the side skirt. And the fuel filter lives under here. I don't remember the last time I changed that, but we'll assume it was recently. Oh. I don't really want to be grinding next to the fuel filter, but this one looks a bit rusty. Wow, it came off. Can't believe that just came off. Look at that. All right, now I think everything's out. I think it's just being held in now by the side skirt, but the side skirt goes over it. I think if we just take these 2 little things out, we'll be able to get to it. The plastic clip things, you know what I mean. Is that it? Just those 2? All right, I think it should come out now. Oh, it's definitely in there. I'm gonna put these on so that I don't get shit in my eye. So that would be wise. What the hell? Why won't it come out? This is some BMW shit. Okay. There we go. Wow, look at all that room. 1.65 kilos. I don't know if you can see that. I'll do it again just so it's not a fluke. 1.65 kilos. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? All right, this isn't looking too bad. I mean, this is the corrosion you could see, right? And look, looks like the wheel arch liner did a good job of stopping the other shit getting elsewhere. A little bit of corrosion here, but everything else is pretty good, right? A blob there, I've got a blob of rust, but I don't think this is too bad. I do prefer having wheel arch liners, you know, I am of that camp, but at the same time, if the tyre was hitting anyway, do we really want to pursue with that? I don't know. I'll get the other side off and we'll have a think. Now with the wheel arch liners out of the way, we can get to work on attacking the rust, but my progress was interrupted by the delivery of a tool that we're going to borrow to quickly, hopefully, get these hubs apart. So if this works, it's your loss, Bezos, because look at that proper farm spec. Yeah, if this works, your loss, Bezos. I'm going to cancel that order. Okay, what do we have here? It's a DIY kit. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Thread on that, there's about a 5mm gap. We'll take the socket, put that over there, and then we'll... Oh, is this hydraulic? It's got a seal on it. This is hydraulic. What? Okay, looks like you get this into place. I'm going to guess you have to get that into place, and then you must run the... Get this tight on it-ish, and then run this down to use... Looks like it's hydraulic. Looks like there maybe should be something to go on the bottom of this to protect it, but... Okay, that's got tight now. It's pretty interesting. It's definitely a lot more substantial than the one I was expecting to get delivered today. So what I'm hoping is going to happen now is I keep screwing this, applying a bit more pressure. It's on tight now. And hopefully it should just pull the bearing off. Until it gets hard, and then we'll know it's... Is it moved? I think it's moving. Yeah, it's got it straight off. It's got tight already, so it must have done that initial little 10mm. Okay, that's very interesting. I'm kind of speechless because I didn't put any pressure on. Maybe it wasn't on there, you know, that tight, but I was expecting more effort at the power of hydraulics. Do need to figure out how we're going to get it out the next part though. Maybe a socket. And the issue with using a socket is keeping it straight. Right, I think this should be a good solution. 1/2 inch extension. Now that the bulk of the work's done, I ordered one off Amazon and they tried to deliver it at 8 o'clock this morning. Puller. Yeah, but it's hydraulic. It's hydraulic. So you screw it on, and then you just twist that, a little hydraulic thing comes out. Just took this straight off. It's really good. No, I've got some bits to do it properly. Very nice this.
Are they doing?
Yeah. I'm just trying to get it on all right.
Bodging it with an extension.
I've already cracked it loose. Just need some. Is it meant to be a bit that goes in the end of that?
Yeah.
Oh, these guys.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah,
Well, this is nearly off, but I'll put it on the next one. Just looks dodgy, but it's fine. Look.
If it works, it works. That's good.
All right, we need to get the inner race off now, and I'm hoping I can do it with this. There's a little ridge here. I'm hoping I can do it nice rather than, you know, having to chisel it off or cut it off or anything like that. So if I can get this around here in a nice way, not too tight, but tight enough, more tight than that. Okay, that's on there. And now this thing is, the part that goes on here is a little bit broken from when we were doing MR2 gearboxes. But I think I've made something work, although I'm not sure, so you'll see what I mean by I'm not sure at the minute. So this should be threaded, but it's not. And if I would have spent a little bit more money to Bezos yesterday, we could have had a fully threaded piece, but I messed that one up. Anyway, because this is not threaded, we're just gonna back this nut. We're just gonna back this nut up, get it tight, and then if we back this nut, it should force this assembly to go that way. This is tight around the bearing in a race, and it should just come out. Maybe. Let's find out. Back this on. And the thrust washers are very good here. I just used to use normal washers, but a thrust washer's got like little needle roller bearings in it. And that's come straight off, I think. Yeah, it's coming straight off, look. Wow, we're getting good at this. I should start making how-to videos soon. Remember, this is the original bearing. It's been on there it'll be 23 years this year. Wow. But yeah, that's worked very well. I'm almost surprised myself how good this just worked. First time as well. Although I've run out of threads. Boom! I can't believe that just worked so well. Alright, let's do it all again from the start. One more time. From the top. Oh yeah, the hydraulic thing does have this look, which if we'd have known about earlier, that would have been nice, wouldn't it? Right, how are we going to get this bearing apart, Captain? Huh? What are we going to do? Well, let me show you, because I am an expert. Welcome to the expert channel. One of the largest, little trivia for you, one of the largest online retailers for car parts once offered me a job with their company making how-to videos on cars, right? They thought, this was a long time ago as well, they thought I was experienced enough and they enjoyed my videos enough to want me to make videos installing parts. And this is quite a while ago, and the payment was going to be the parts por gratis and exposure on their YouTube channel. So, I mean, I didn't think it was worth the. I didn't want to start making videos for other people, right? But a little trivia for you there. I'll not tell you which one. It's not the one. It's not Mick. I'll tell you that. Obviously, we had a bit of a thing with Mick back in the day, but it wasn't Mick. Anyway, so we'll get the free jaw puller on, and now I just twist the hydraulic. Very easy, one finger. Should start feeling some pressure soon. Some pressure soon. Oh, there we go. So I can feel some pressure now. And it's pulling it off. Hell yeah. Boom. Wow, that's so easy. I've got to get myself one of these. And then we've got the inner race left. So I'll take my little half moonie. What are these called? Bearing race tool, I guess. I don't know. I like to call it the half moonie. So I'm using an 11mm socket, wherever it's gone. Okay. And then we'll turn that nut. Wow. Ta-da! I'm a genius. Alright, last job before we can start doing some paint on these is to get the old ABS sensors out, the wheel speed sensors. Nothing wrong with these, they actually work just fine. And they don't look damaged or anything, but you know, they're old sensors, right? So they could fail, and it's pretty cheap to replace them, although it's Bosch parts that I'm replacing them with, which, you know, it's better than the bottom barrel, but is it as good as the factory ones? Well, who makes the factory ones? This was made in June 2002, I can tell you that. No branding on it though. It's just branded BMW, there's just a BMW part number, but if these were salvageable, I'd keep them, right, for spares, but they're going to be seized in there. We're not going to be able to get them out without destroying them. We can try, but that's the nut that we've got to get open to get them out. We might be able to get it out. That might go. That's pretty loose. I don't think it's going to go. No. I mean, in for a penny and all that. This is a bit which is already broken. I'm going to try and hammer it in. I mean, that's got a good grip. Better than what the Allen head had, but will it turn? I don't know. No. Not quite. Nah. Okay. See, that's gripping alright. That's the best grip we've had so far. But it wants to twist. Just try tickling it with the impact. No, I mean, that stripped it, but that just proves that it was always gonna, I don't know, maybe. The problem with the ratchet is you're putting this load on it as well, whatever you call that. It impacts direct, right? I'm trying to not melt the sensor, but maybe, I don't know if we have a choice. I mean, the sensor itself, it's got a nut hole in it, but that's, even when we get the nut out, the sensor might not come out, so. Can't get this one to go in straight. I think it's not going to work. Oh! Hello. It worked. Yeah, but just because we've got the screw, I mean, getting the screw out is good. So that means that we don't have to piss about, you know, trying to get the thread to work or anything when we're done. So the screw's out. Now to get the sensor out. Well, this part's moving, but the sensor's obviously stuck into the hub, so it's probably just going to snap. This is good for the sensor. Oh God. Alright, maybe it's time to see if we can hit it out from this side. Rip sensor. We tried. Looks like the grease was making it through as well. Well, this is the most intact, I think. Well, this is as far as I've got without just completely destroying one. That's pretty good progress, I guess. But there we go. All right, hasta la vista. What? Now that's stuck. All right, now I need to do it once more. Oh, it's come straight out. There we go, look, that's the faster way.
Right, it's time to start cleaning these up, ready for paint. I'm not after an immaculate finish here, I'm just trying to get all the loose corrosion off. Yeah, I'm not after perfection, we just want to make it a little bit better.
Wow. How do people wear the face thing and the goggles at the same time? Because I'm going to have to pick, because I'm getting steamed up. I choose goggles. Short-term forecast. I mean, I can't even see out of these even. I don't know if we need any of them, do we? The dust cover for the bearing is mangled. It's a sealed bearing anyway, right? It's a sealed bearing anyway, so I don't know how much I'm bothered about that. Alright, you get the idea. I will get these ready for primer. Alright, this is what we're left with. So, not perfect bare metal, but wasn't after that. The dust shield, or the whatever shield, absolutely destroyed on one of them. What's that, the driver's side, is it? But yeah, there's still some bits. You know, I got most of the flaky bits off, right? That's all I was trying to do. Get the bits off that could just flake off. And that's done, right? So, yeah. It'll be fine. All I'm trying to do here is, you know, make it a bit nicer to work on and stuff like that. So what I need to do now is just, I don't know what I've started doing already, is just rough it up. So I'm just going to rough it up a bit with this, a bit battered Scotch pad, and then we'll degrease it all, and then we'll mask off the bits that we don't want to paint, and then we'll paint it. I will primer it. I'm not going to have time to primer it tonight. We'll primer it, let that chill for a couple of days and come back. I'm just going to snip some bits off of this. The last thing I want is damage to the new bearing, right? Yeah, good enough. It would be nice to just remove this one, but not sure how it actually goes on. Yeah, whatever. That's probably fine, isn't it? Alright, I mean, obviously this is just a quick little thing, right? I'm not expecting miracles, but I do also want to be a little bit happy with how it looks. So So let's give it a half decent chance. Wasting my time with these things, but whatever. Not the hubs, well, maybe the hubs, but I mean more the dust covers. These edges aren't very well profound, is that the right word? This isn't working that well. It only works really well. Man, that takes so long. I'll see you on the other side. Alright, that took a long time. I felt like it took forever, man. I never made a plan of what to do where the ABS ring goes. The ABS sensor. Maybe we can just stuff some tissue in it. Will that work? That kind of works. Yeah. All the balls, we'll just tap them afterwards because they all need cleaning up anyway, so yeah, that works alright. I'm sorry. Tend to drift. And now for the rig. I've made a rig. You're gonna like this. Yeah? Rig. How about that? Rate my rig. Gravity is doing me a... I guess I can... and then rotate it back round. Yeah. Okay, let's paint. Oh, this is Plastic Coat Cold Zinc Primer. This looks a bit shit here, doesn't it? Balls. Well, whatever. Right, while that's drying, it's a weird colour. It's like a, well, it's obviously it's a primer grey, but it's like a more bluey tinge to it. Well, I'll let that dry. While that's happening, I'm going to take the power steering off of this car. I'm going to take it off, all of it. Alright, it's 2 days later. It's pretty chilly in here. I got bad news. I was just looking over these and there's a few areas where rust has already started coming back through. 2 days later. So obviously that's very disappointing. Right, apparently this is normal. So this is a zinc primer and you're not supposed to leave it a couple of days uncoated. I thought I could just let the primer cure for a couple of days and I figured the longer the better there, but not in this case because we've used a cold zinc primer. What we're seeing here, these specks, is apparently normal and it's not a case of having to re-primer it all again. We get some clean sandpaper, which thankfully I do have some clean stuff, and now we should be able to just go around and rub away, you know, just give it a little bit of a sand, maybe do one more coat of primer on the top of that, and then we'll do the base coat and stuff tonight. But it is really cold. I'm not going to touch it, but well, we can get a reading on here, can't we? Yeah, 3 degrees. So not terrible, but I think I'll run the heat gun on them as well and heat the paint, and I think that should help. But yeah, all is not lost. So this might not actually be the hubs rusting, it's actually the zinc in the primer that's rusting. So yeah, I'll go with that. I can't tell you my source, but it sounds plausible, I'll go with it. Alright, I've scrubbed off all the top layer of orange. Okay, so any orange that we could see is now metal again-ish. I mean, come on, it'll be fine. So I'm going to warm them up with a heat gun, we'll give them another coat of primer and then get on with some paint. 4. This one's 9, this one's only 7. 8 a bit. Alright, we got a couple of degrees. Still not ideal, but whatever. Right, that'll be fine. Maybe. Right, we'll throw some paint down on that in half an hour or so. I don't have a little heater, else I'd put a little heater on. That'd be good, wouldn't it? Well, this is full dry 24 hours, so I don't know. 24, I left it maybe 40 hours. It's probably 40 hours since I primered it and rust was coming through, so I could do with rotating this in like half an hour or so, but that should help. Okay, that should help. Hopefully no fires, we'll see. Update on the arms and stuff, they are proving difficult to get, as well as, well, I want to replace the back bush, that rear bush, the lollipop bush, people call it. It's the rear bush on the control arm, right? That guy. And this is a poly bush, and it's quite an old one to be fair, but it's definitely showing some wear. Now this will be the last poly bush on the car, the last one to get rid of, other than the D bushes on the roll bar, they'll probably still be poly, but as far as most suspension goes. So that's all arm movement before the bush even does anything, so that's just slop. That's the arm moving, obviously. Now would you really feel that when you're driving? I don't know, maybe not. But I would rather change that. Yeah, the ball joints are still fine, like, look at that one, it's still got loads of rigidity, but I would like to put some new ones in. All right, we'll come back half an hour or so, give it another coat. Maybe we'll go 3 coats.
I ended up putting 3 coats of that satin black on. I didn't put any lacquer on, not sure if maybe I should have done, but it's a couple of days later now and I've got a parcel.
Right, look what I have. Wheel speed sensors, wheel bearings, and something I've been waiting a while for, bearings for the top mount. Dunlop, I managed to get some branded ones. Yeah, it's probably the same, isn't it? So we've got a few things to do. We need to tap out the threads on here, on there, and then we need to get the new flange, the new bearings on, get the wheel speed sensors in, new screws, and yeah, happy days. This is hell. Alright, so I got a few bars to clean up. I got a few threads to clean up, right? That's 1. That's 2. There's still so much tape on here. No way. Is that what I think it is? Haha, okay. Oh, is that part of the bearing then? Oh no, should we have taken that off? No way. Okay, so the thing that I was fannying about with trying to save, looks like you get a new one with this wheel bearing kit. There's a new cap. There's the bearing, the flange on it, and yeah, the ABS ring. Alright, well, in for a penny, we may as well try and... I don't know how we're gonna. Well, that's interesting. I'm sure anyone who's watching this and has done one of these before knows, right? But I did not know this kit was gonna come with a new one of them. I'm glad it has, because, well, I'm sort of glad it has. I wish I'd have known before doing all this painting and stuff, but... okay, I've got an idea. What do we think? It's gonna go around it? think so. Alright, well, fingers crossed. Sliding off the broken side. No. Okay, we'll have to try a different way to get this one off. Okay. Fair bit of corrosion behind that. God damn it. Well, let's see what the other one's like. Maybe we'll do a little bit of painting before we... That's a bit annoying, isn't it? I mean, this one's not even in bad shape, but it is starting to rust out, so it would be dumb not to, right? Alright, this one seems to be coming off. I put it under pressure and then gave it some taps from behind. Yeah, there we go. That's not terrible. We can just clean up the bare metal and that's where it's going to sit, right? That's not the end of the world. This side looks a little bit worse. I mean, it's not pretty, but I think it'll be fine. That'll do. Okay, we're in. Cool, look at that. Nice. I'll put the nut on when it's on the car. I think it's got to be 220 newtons, maybe more, or something like that. So we'll come back to that. That's going on a bit sideways, isn't it? It's ovaled it now, that's good, isn't it? That's what we wanted. So I'm putting it on just beyond the lip. Alright, hold on. So you can see there's that lip. We're going just beyond that. The bearing sits on the face that you can see. So we're putting the guard just behind it. Cool. Alright, I just saw a possible problem here. And I think I should do something about it before it's a big problem. Can you see the chip there? Right on the, there you go, right on the edge. There's a little chip. Wonder how that got there. How could that have got there? It's a strange place for it, isn't it? I'm just going to try and take the meat of that away, just so it's not going to stop our bearing. And it's right on the chamfer. It probably won't be an issue, but let's just be doubly sure. Okay, so you can still see it, but you can't feel it anymore. I can feel it ever so slightly, but it's way better than what it was. I think that'll be fine now. Happy days. Alright, I had a little tidy up. And I thought I'd get on with doing the ABS sensor, the wheel speed sensor. But there's a problem. Immediate problem. Can you see the problem? I mean, it's not touching, but it might as well be. I don't understand why it's so close. You can see light coming out there, right? But at the tip, it's really close. Can you see? Look. Like, you can't even see light through there. That's how close it is. And the sensor went in really tight as well. I mean, I did clean up the hole a little bit more on the other side. This one again, it's got corrosion in it, not paint. There's just a little bit of corrosion in there, right? Can I show you? All right, you can't quite see. There's just a little bit of masking tape. There's just a little bit of corrosion in there. Nothing terrible, but you know, I may as well clean it up. It's still tight, so I don't think I've like misaligned it or anything. I misformed it. I don't know. Let's see. I do still have one good old OEM sensor that we can try, but I don't understand. I don't understand. Okay, that's pretty good now. So do we want to try the OEM sensor again, just to compare, or do we go straight for the new one? I mean, they look the same. The factory one is damaged a bit on the tip. Maybe it's just a factory thing, I don't know. We'll go with the new one, see. Now that one fits way better. So that's what I'd expect to see. You can see the light through it? What's different? Something is different. It's constant. It's not like it's ovaled some way or whatever. Can't be upside down. I guess we've got to try swapping the sensors around and see if the problem follows or not, right? So will this sensor, they're not sided, they're both just front sensors, right? No left and right. Yeah, it's still very close. Well, that was interesting. I was able to bend it up by hand. Maybe it just needs nipping down. That would be a nice result. Maybe it just wasn't, well, it wasn't tight. So maybe when it gets tight, it'll sit right. Or maybe it's the paint on the back making it not sit right because I didn't cover this up very well. So we know it's not the sensor. So that's good. So maybe it's something to do with the paint on the back. Let's compare that. I'm going to have to think about this like an engineer. If it's holding it too far that way, I mean, do we just get rid of all the paint around there? Okay, so if it's going to be holding it closer to the bearing, that means that this side's going to be high, right? And there is like a rust line there, okay? Because if that's going to be up, the sensor's going to be down facing into the... Okay, so can you see what I mean? So this ridge here, right? And then if we look at this side, can you see? It's not paint, it's the rust that's doing it. Well, I'm pretty confident that's what it is. See if we can fix it. Just trying to protect the bearing. It's going to be a bit... It's going to be a bit destructive. Let me try the Dremel. Okay, that's got rid of that problem anyway. Let's see if that was what was causing it then, hopefully. It's still very close, but it's definitely not as close. It's probably like 0.1 or 0.2 of a millimeter now. Alright, I think that should be good. Seems a shame to leave bare metal like that, doesn't it? But I don't know what else I can do really. I'm just going to rock it. I was just going to go and paint it a little bit, but I think we'll just rock it. Yeah, it's still very close, but I don't think it's... I think it's where it needs to be now. But I hope we don't get any play in that bearing.
Right, so I was fairly confident that I'd fixed the problem here, but I hadn't. Upon further inspection, the ABS sensor, the wheel speed sensor, was still very close, too close to the reluctor ring.
Now this one's too close. Alright, I just gotta get rid of all the paint. Be right back. Right, I've pissed about with this for a long time, too long. I cleaned everything up, same result. Got rid of all the paint, same result. What I found was that if I put a little bit of pressure in the right place to bring it up and then nip the screw down, I've got what I'm guessing is close to factory, but it's still it's still nothing. Like, it's not touching, but it feels too close to me. It feels way too close. I'm very confident that I didn't like mill any out of the inside. I cleaned up the rust, and I tried the original sensor in, but all of its fins are pretty worn and stuff, and that is pretty loose. It's not loose, but you know, you can turn it a lot. But these sensors, you know, they grip up nice. Like, I'm pretty sure that's fine. I don't understand. There we go. I don't understand. But yeah, I'm just gonna have to rock it. It's on a school night, and we've still got a lot of jobs to do. So let's move on. I'll maybe order some spare sensors as well. Okay, do you remember this? Right, we need to put these coilovers back together. Is that new rust? That is new rust. Well, obviously that was going to happen, right? I was thinking about this. I should have painted them. We can still paint them. There's still time. Oh, this is a shame, isn't it? I mean, that was always going to happen. I've been thinking about this for a while. It's not terrible. I mean, these have been... In the real world, it's probably like 6 weeks since we did these. It's just in the pits, right? I mean, it is wiping off, but we've got that ACF 50 on there. Maybe we just paint them. I mean, it's cold. We can't really heat these up being, you know, dampers. This is so annoying, man. It's just more and more things. I have some quick silver paint. Okay, let's just do it. Whatever, it's what it is. If we put it back together like this, it'll be, well, it's going to be rusty, obviously, but it's more rusty than what I thought it was going to be. It doesn't look bad on camera. Doesn't look bad on camera. Maybe I can get away with it if it doesn't look bad on camera. That'll work all right, won't it? I think this was too good. It was in too good of shape. Excuse you. Thank you. You bastard. I wasn't sure if the sanding was working, but that one looks a lot more dull than that one. Thank you. Sanding? That's not what you're doing. You're doing it with Scotch pad. Well, I am half Scottish. Hawkeye. The new. Yeah, this is pretty long, but it is what it is, Captain. Okay. It would be a shame to leave that as rusty as what it is. That's pretty clean. They still feel a bit sticky, I don't know. Almost like that grease is still on, but I would hope not. Alright, we'll give that half an hour. Do another coat. It is cold, 6 degrees. Maybe we should give it longer. Alright, it's been half an hour. Yeah, they've dried okay. There's quite a lot of shit in the primer, but oh, still a bit damp there. I don't know. I made effort. You all saw it. I made effort. Alright, cool. We'll throw some paint down tomorrow. A little bit colder today, but let's get some paint on. Oh, 15. It's really hard to tell where I have and haven't painted, but we'll give it a few coats. All right, our next job, unfortunately the Estero blue paint came today, so we may as well just have a go at making this a little bit nicer whilst we're here. Basically, there's some quite rusty, well, some bits that are starting to get quite rusty, but not too bad. This is a little bit worse down here, and this area where the brake pipe goes is a little bit rusty. The brake pipe's going to stay put, and all the fixtures and fittings are going to stay put, so we can't go too savage, but I've got a new toy that I want to try. First off, I'll just get these wrapped up so that they're out of the way. I guess I can probably poke those through, but I'll just put them up there for now.
Alright, this new toy then. I'd had my eye on one of these for a while, and as soon as I got a air compressor in the barn that was big enough for one, I bought one, but I've not had a chance to use it yet. I was a little bit disappointed though.
Obviously I've never used one of these before. I don't know if I've rigged it up right, but it's a needle. Alright, I don't know what's going on with this thing. Every video I've watched, these things jingle jangle about. This one they don't. And the pressure's right, everything's tight, the grub screws, everything is where it should be, but I don't know, it's just not doing anything. Well, it's not that it's not doing anything, it's just that it's not doing as much as I thought it would. I expected more. I'm disappointed, very disappointed. There's something not right, is that there's a screw on the back to do the power, right? And I've done it all the way one way and all the way the other, and it's just not. Yeah, that's disappointing. 50 quid, by the way. This is pretty tedious. I mean, doing anything like this, pardon you, doing anything like this when everything else is still on, right? If the car was just a shell, this would be a lot nicer, a lot easier to do. I kind of feel like I'm just wasting my time a lot so far with the rust stuff that I've been doing so far, like the hubs, and you know, I'm just making it a little bit nicer so that it won't fall apart, maybe. But I mean, this is probably 90% of what I'm going to do, and then we'll just clean it up, and then I think I'm actually going to put some rust converter on, just because there's a lot of bits that I can't quite get to. We'll throw some rust converter in. But yeah, I'm going to do a few little more bits, do the other side as well, and then I'll rust convert it. I hope I've got some rust converter. I think I've got some rust converter. Alright, yeah, look, we got some rust converter. So this is actually built amber stuff that's inside this bottle, right? Built amber, is that how you say it? Everyone loves that. Oh, I love that stuff, me. So I love it. I put it in this bottle. Yeah, that's what happens. Alright, I got this side nearly ready. Well, ish. It still needs a little bit of cleaning, but I'm going to start with the cleaning on this side because, you know what? A lot of this is just dirt. I know, newsflash. A lot of this is just dirt. Would you believe it? Getting this box off is a bit of a pain. There's a few other things going on this side, but we'll worry about that another time. Well, that came off a lot easier than the other side. Maybe I didn't have to bodge it like that. Oh well. I mean, is this side even worth stressing about too much? I don't think so. There's some bits at the bottom and a little bit there on the chassis rail, but we'll do a few bits on this side. I'm not going to bother doing it all. This side's a lot better. I mean, this is the driver's side, right? So typically on UK cars, that's away from all the shit, right, on the side of the road. We'll clean up like the bottom bits and that, but I'm not going to go mad with this. Really hard to do with the brake line. Right, I'm just gonna clean all the grease and shit off around the rusty areas, and then I'm gonna throw some of that rust converter on, and then we'll let that sit for a day. We'll come back Saturday. I'm gonna have a day off. Come back Saturday and well, a day off. I still have to work. I still have to do the pasties, but we'll come back on Saturday and then we'll paint all this. So I spent a bit of time. There's obviously still going to be a bit of orange under all of this, I'm sure, but I just can't. It's not that bad, right? And I'm sure there's going to be a time in the future where I might want to do it all properly. Another thing worth considering, of course, is that this is more than paint. This is, you know, seam sealer. They're not seam sealer, but stone chip stuff, right? So it's a lot, it can resist the chip of stones where, you know, I'm just gonna put paint on it for now. I don't have any stone chip. I don't use this for a while. Presume it's gonna be fine. It's like a gel. So I'm just gonna spray it on. Got a little brush. It's all running off. Please stay. Maybe it's fine if it runs. I don't know. There's quite a lot of it on the floor now. It's probably fine. I did scotch pad it all the rust, to try and give it something to stick to. But I guess when it's running, if it's running past it, at least it's covering it, right? Let's come back in a couple of days. Maybe spraying the brake line wasn't super wise, but let's have a look in a couple of days. All right, we're a couple of days in the future, and that came out not too bad. It's coverage. I mean, there's still some wet on the floor, which is interesting, but yeah, we're a few hours on. Oh, shutter speed's going a bit low, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, it was just a base, really. So my plan now, right, the plan for the rest of the wheel arch area, what I'm going to do is rough it up. Well, we're going to mark off where we actually want to paint, which is going to be pretty much most of the inner wing, I think. We'll mark up where we want to paint, and then yeah, just rough up the rough stuff where it's been bare metal and stuff. We'll put some of that zinc primer on, and the rest of it we're just going to give a touch up with some Esterol blue paint. I hope it is anyway. It's arrived, so look at that. Probably need to do some cleaning before that. All right, I'll give it another going over, but that's looking a lot better. Well, it's obviously a lot of the black stuff's gone, but that's fine because that's just stuff that's lower than the surface level, right? Which is exactly what I wanted to happen. That's why we put the rust converter on, because it's these bits where, okay, I'm sanding over the top, but yeah, I need to get further in, but I can't, right? That's what the rust converter is helping us with. That makes sense? All right, I had a little problem masking. The masking paper didn't want to hang on a lot of the areas, so I decided I'm just not going to bother. I mean, we're in a wheel arch area and we're against the clock, who cares? Like BMW didn't mask this up, did they? They just whacked it on. I'm just going to try and clean as much as I can now. We'll give it a final little scuff up, little scuffler. But I mean, it's pretty clean now. I don't like that hole there. Yeah, the engine must have been sweating power for so long that just nothing will stick. And I've cleaned it, and I cleaned this like 5 or 6 times trying to get something to stick, but I keep finding more little rust bits, and I'm trying not to, you know, but all right, this probably looks the same to you, but you have to trust me that it's a lot cleaner. I could just keep going, and we could take all the old paint off, and you know, we could just keep going, but I need to stop. I need to move on. And yes, there's definitely going to be opportunities to do things better in the future. But with that said, this is still going to be an improvement on what was, okay? there's a tiny little bit of cloth on that bracket. Got it. All right, whilst we're waiting for the paint to dry, and we've got loads of other jobs to do, obviously, and they're just drying as well, but let's get the top mounts ready. So we've got new bearings for the top mounts, but there is a slight problem. Okay, so we should press these in, right? Here's the new bearing. This is our Dunlop bearing, 35mm wide, whatever, right? What's the problem? That is the problem. Now it's held in by a, what do you call it? There is a snap ring to go in which will hold it, you know, it'll stop it going up and down maybe, but there is a slight bit of side to side movement which we can't really afford. I don't know what to do here. So yeah, there's maybe like 1/2 mil difference maybe. Yeah, it's just a little bit bigger. So I'm getting 34.5 on my bearings, and then on the original one it's a full 35. Okay, so there's 1/2 mil in it. I've just had a delivery from these yesterday. Yeah, slightly different code, and I can get the full 35mm, and everything else is the same. This is a £40 lesson, but I won't forget. And obviously this puts us behind a couple more days, but yeah, we can get the right one, so we don't have to bodge anything. Right, while we're here, there is something else to look at. Now, I've come up with a fix. Well, I've come up with a solution. See, between the ABS sensor and the hub, I've cut a washer in half, like a little shim, to force it. When it goes that last little bit, it forces that movement to get the sensor away from the ring. And I think that works pretty well. See the gap? I think that's going to work pretty well. But yeah, I've started to do it on this one, and the shims started falling out, look. Can you see that? Yeah, the fact that you can see the metal there is wrong, so let me just slacken this off, force it down, and then hopefully, because at the minute it's actually alright at the minute, but I mean that could fall out, right? Well, it fell out, but you get the idea, right? So just keep an eye on the angle of that when I tighten this up.
Unfortunately, someone was grinding in the background here, so you can't really hear what I'm saying. But what do you reckon? This will last? I did it to both. So I cut a washer in half, hung it around where the sensor meets the hub, and that forced the sensor away from the ABS wheel speed sensor reluctor ring. How long is this going to last? I don't know, but they're both done now. Let's get back on with the wheel arches.
Right, so we're all primed up. Let's get some paint on. There was a big piece of rust just chilling. Whoa, that's a wide nozzle. Oh, this paint stinks. I don't have a respirator. Maybe I should have some kind of mask, right? That's some smelly paint. I don't think this is the same thing, is it? Hello. 19 COVIDs. Jesus, I can't believe how much smoke's coming off. This is quite literally the overspray final boss. Colour looks pretty good though. I'll do the other side. Smelly.
I think I ended up doing about 3 coats here. The footage, I've got so much footage and not a big enough hard drive, right? So I can't cram it all in, but you just have to trust me. But it's a couple of days later now, and our next job is to start fitting parts back to the car.
Oh yeah, I ordered some of these arms today. I'll save the price for you at the end, but it's not pretty. But it kind of had to happen, right? I'm just looking at what I can do with these things. These are what hold the wheel speed sensor in the wheel arch. I did look at replacements, but online I could only find them for about £25 each, I think it was, and they're all coming from foreign lands, so time was going to be against us. But I mean, this one's still in good condition, right? You'd think. I have found this guy, which is a little bit smaller on the nib end, on the male end, whatever, on the sticky outy end, right? A little bit shorter there, but it does fit quite nice, and it's quite shallow once it's in, because you know we don't want to have a big clip on this side because it might mean that we can't get the lid closed, for example, right? So what we'll do is I'll test it on this one before I cut this one to shreds. We'll test it on this one, and then yeah, we'll see where it goes. So yeah, having this flat is going to be really important. Look at this, a brand new file. All right, I'm just like mushing the plastic in, but I mean, I think that's flat enough. All right, we're in the passenger side wheel arch area, and this goes there, okay? Slight problem, I think, is that is quite a big hole. I don't think they're gonna, we'll connect this in, right? So that's it, it's his maximum spread angle. Can I still get it in? I can, so that's no good. All right, back to the drawing board. All right, I think I've got something that's gonna work. So I've had to enlarge the holes to 10 mil, but these sit pretty flat. I realised that these are probably part of the old thing. I was going to sand these flat, but I mean they give it a bit of a standoff, which is maybe better. These fit the holes pretty good, but yeah, let's see if this works. Which way does it go? That way, right? Open sesame? Or does it go that way? Open sesame. I think it goes that way, right? Fuck. I'm going to have to check. Oh, I can't check because I don't have the old memory card. I'm just going to have a look at some videos. All right, I watched a few videos, right? Two of them, this door opened to the rear. One of them, it opened to the front. I don't know. Let's go to the rear.
After review, there was no offside offense.
We can always change it if we want to, right? Okay. Well, the bottom one's gripped, but the top one isn't gripping. I mean, it's close enough. Let's see if we can get the sensors out. So my brake pad wear sensor is just tied together there, look. If it works, it works. So I think when the wheel speed sensor's in, it's going to keep that top one locked with the, once that's closed, I think it'll be fine. I don't think it's going anywhere. A little bit concerning that it did want to come out, but whatever. I'll go do the other side. Well, I thought we were all done painting. Look how good that looks. What did I just find when I'm looking at my parts? Haha. These go on the shock absorber bolt that goes through the hub to hold the brake line and the ABS sensor, and they look a little bit, yeah, that's going to look nasty if I put them on, right? Maybe we'll paint just one more thing. This is dangerous, but I've got goggles on. Well, glasses on. Probably should have goggles. This is another thing that probably costs not a lot, but I can't afford to wait, so we'll just paint it. Plus, making old things new again-ish is nice, right? I can't get it all on the back, we'll have to do some more manually, but that's a good start. That's one. Can't get in here all the way, so I'll have to do a little bit manual. All right, let's build some coilovers. All right, so we painted the shockers, right? It's not the best job, but do you remember what they used to look like? It was a lot worse. All right, before we do the grand reveal on that, we need to get our new bearings. All right, so we've got the new bearings that I ordered the other day. Here are the top mounts. Hey, that's better, look, it doesn't just fall in. So remember how the ones that I bought originally just fell straight in? Well, this one, we're actually gonna have to drive it in there. That's good, friction fit, thank you. And there's a circlip that goes on. I've already cleaned the insides of the top mounts, so yeah, let's get them in. A couple of options here. We could just use the press. That'll probably be the easiest thing to do, won't it? So I need to find something that will go around the outer edge of this. Might still need some wood. Alright, this is going to be a bit tricky actually, because I've got plenty of things that'll go around that and, you know, secure the bearing out of race. But the problem is we actually need to go inside here to push it past where the circlip goes. Can you see the ring? So you can see that ring on the inside? That's where the circlip sits, so we actually need to push past. So I need something about that size. Ooh, what about the old bearing? One of them was already destroyed. Aha, hang on. So we've got the old bearing here. This is the one that I sponged a little bit. So that should fit nice on the outside. Where the snap ring, where the circlip sits, is actually a little bit wider. So that should work pretty well. I'll just clean it up a little bit so that we don't have to deal with corrosion. Yeah, that's nicer, isn't it? Let's go in. Does maybe look like it could go a little bit more, I don't know. Let me try and get the snap ring in. These aren't mega dirty or anything, I'm just trying to make sure there's nothing getting in the way of this sitting flat. Kind of needs to go down a little. It needs to go down a little bit more to get in, but I can't seem to do that. Why not? Unless it is the bearing that needs to go down a little bit more. Let's do the other one and then we'll get a feeling for it. That's just the wood. Watch your eyes. Was that just cracked? Was that ring there before? Did you see? Well, that's not good. I wonder if this is the one that I made a mess of taking it out, because it does look flared a little bit around the edges. So maybe this is no good. That looks like a crack to me. That's where the circlip sits, so we kind of need that. What do we think? Damn, that's annoying, isn't it? It's very uniform, but there's these bumps halfway around. Why else would they be there? Unless it's just stretched. It might not be a crack, but it's definitely stress related, I think. I don't know. What'll make this really obvious is if this goes in loose, right? But I don't think it's going to do that. These should be easy to get, right? They're not anything too specific. There's a ridge. There's a little ridge there, which might cause us some pain, but oh, the circlip fits a lot better in that one. All right, this crack line definitely does pause play on coilover building for now. I've just hunted around the internet, looked at all my spare coilovers, and I can't find an exact match for that. It looks like it should be a normal part. It looks very similar. It looks very similar to the rear suspension top mounts on a normal E46, but obviously they're not designed to have this spherical bearing. So yeah, that's kind of annoying. And also on the other one, I can't get the snap ring to sit where it should be. I don't know if maybe the circlip's malformed. It doesn't look like it, but this is a shame. There are options to just buy a complete new top mounts from different companies that should fit, so I'll keep that in mind, but this is disappointing, especially after buying the wrong bearings and then getting the right bearings, but can't get them to fit. Right, I think we should do a little bit of an investigation on this. I'm not sure what that tells me. It's definitely less pronounced now, like where it's still anodized, you know, I can feel it more, sure. But how do I know if that's actually deformed the structural integrity? It's there. How do I know if this is actually something that I need to be that worried about? Right, we're a couple of days on now. I've been working on the oil cooler stuff mostly. That's what I'm yapping about now. But I've had the top mount repaired and I've got some new springs. So can we finally put these coilovers back together? If you don't remember, I know it's been a while ago, in the same video of course, this was the state of my springs. And the coilovers themselves are in a pretty sorry state, but they are quite expensive and quite good coilovers. They're Bilstein Club Sports. Retail price was over £4,000 when they were new. I could have by now ordered some new springs, right? In the end, I went down to Darkside probably 2 weeks ago now. We're on a side quest. Whoa.
Spring has come early.
That's a lot of spring. Hello.
Alright.
And these are some test springs that they had. Maybe they're off a road car or something, but they're definitely not brand new. These are eyebacks. Yeah, they're maybe a couple of years behind on the corrosion front, but certainly should be fine for this year anyway. There's a little bit of exposed metal and stuff, but what I was concerned about reusing these ones, I mean, I was just going to get them powder coated, but I thought better of it. That spring, you know, it could snap, right? And we had that on the black M3 last year when I actually had a coilover spring snap. And I think that was one that I'd actually had powder coated since. So let's stop doing that. The helper springs as well, you know, unfortunately also dead. But trying to get the exact number, the spring rate from these was impossible. But I had it in my head that I found it before and that these were 100 Newton meters, right? Everything's metric on these European stuff. Roughly equivalent to 10 kilos or I don't know, 400 pounds or something like that, maybe. No, probably about 600 pounds. I'll put it on screen what the American Imperial Freedom units are. But these are 90s, right? Which is less. Yes, it's less. But because I don't like the front end on the car so much, and I was wanting to go to a smaller roll bar, well, this might help with that anyway, right? It's 10% less spring force just on the spring alone. Now the issue may be that the springs are different sizes, right? This is a lot smaller spring, but we've got smaller helpers as well to hopefully help us. Yeah, helpers. With the spring and the helper combination, they are the same. Obviously, it's going to take more force to go down the same with this, but with this being a less force, it'll compress more, right, with the same weight. But we did have lots of threads left on the actual coilover itself, right? So I think we should be able to make it work. I will give these a bit of a clean before we do fit them, but before we go any further, we have to have a look at this top mount because I did indeed break it, okay? So this has been down again at Darkside. Darkside have helped me a lot throughout all of this process. So it was cracked all the way through. I'll put a picture on screen now just to remind you. And how that happened was when I was pulling the bearing out originally, I must have had the cup on the bearing itself. Rather, I think I was trying to seat it up against this face. I should have just gone over the top of it, right, and not worried about it too much. But yeah, that ended up actually cracking the housing. So what Tom at Darkside's done is he's gouged it all out, the crack gone all the way through, and then I think he said three or four different welds around, like welded it up, and then he put it on the lathe to turn it back down. The only thing he struggled with, because he didn't have the correct toolage, was to get the circlip ring right. So we might have to do some further modifications there. You see it's a bit rough inside. So I think he said he had to just do that manually by hand. He didn't have the... I mean, that would have took ages to do that as well, probably, eh? Maybe we just go for a test fit. I'll give this a good clean. I'm sure he already has, but I'll give this a good clean. And I think I'm going to grease it as well, just because there's a good chance that we're going to be taking it straight back out. I mean, it's not really dirty. We've got these to sort out as well later. These are the track control arms. I did have poly bushers. We've got some Delrin bushers to go in. That got quite a lot of pressure, quite quick. Oh, it's a little bit lopsided.
Right, I spent a lot of time faffing about getting this bearing into the housing, and in the interest of making this video still interesting for anyone who's past the 2 hour mark, well, I'm just going to skip forward a bit. It's very likely that the welding actually misaligned, misshaped where the bearing sits, and I just kept working away at where it kept getting caught, and I kept working it away, and it kept getting caught, and then I'll file a little bit off, and yeah, definitely not ideal by any means, but we'll have to revisit this in the future most likely. We'll see how it gets on. Something to keep an eye on this year.
I mean, maybe this will wear away quicker in time. Maybe I should order some replacements anyway, but they're so expensive. Like a decent top mount set from like the companies which I've bought other stuff from, the Millways and stuff like that. We're talking like £500 for some top mounts. Yeah. So far my spend on this is, you know, if we don't count the bearings that I've tried to return but haven't received a refund for yet, we're talking about £40, right? Don't worry, when we get to the end of this massive video, I'll tell you how much everything cost. Now, something we could have done is put some Loctite around it, or you can get sealant for bearings, right? You can get, I'm pretty sure it's just the same kind of glue that Fred Locker uses, but is this gonna fit? Oh, shoot. Using the worst pliers for some reason, but that's fine. All right, so again, the circlip ears are sitting so close, but I think this is gonna be fine. Well, maybe fine's the wrong word, but I think we're gonna be okay. Sorry, I keep moving it away from the camera. There is still quite a lot of aluminum grease, which might, well, should I say grease with aluminum inside it, which might reduce the life of it overall, but let's get these coilovers built up. All right, so a bit of a disappointing start, but there is plenty more to do. Oh, they've got really comfortable in this wood. Yoink. Jesus. Well, it looks like I forgot to mask the top threads on one of them, but whatever. There's got to be an easier way to get masking tape off. Is this normal for masking paper, or is it the temperature, or what? It's very annoying. Alright, that was annoying and very time consuming, but they look alright, don't they? Oh, brand spankers! Right, I'm just going to clean those springs and then we'll assemble. BRB. Alright, so the conditions of these springs is better than what we had, but definitely used. Alright, but like I said, with the spring rate being just slightly softer, then hopefully it should be an improvement overall. So now we get to figure out whether or not I can remember how these go back together. How hard can it be? Oh, these parts are all really clean. The spring obviously goes on that guy, and that guy goes underneath to lock it off. Oh, this side, this has got a nice flat side on it, so that must butt up against that, so they must go on first. Alright, I realise I didn't do the best job of videoing that, but I'm trying to figure out which one's left and which one's right. I think that's the right, so this is the left. No, this is the right, so this is the left. Alright, I'm glad we got to the bottom of that. These aren't exactly gliding down, but I haven't put any spray on them or anything. It'll be alright. Okay. Where's the bump stops? Where's the bump stops? That hole that I did, these are not replaceable anyway, so we're just going to ignore it. We could maybe try and stick it back together with a torch, but where's the bump stops? This is a problem. It's not like I've just lost one, they're both not here. Where are the bump stops? I spent about an hour and a half, just over an hour and a half looking, tidying up and looking. No idea. There's no idea. It could be anywhere. And you know when you lose something and you see it in your head because you know you've seen it. You close your eyes, it's there, but you just can't place it. I'm just gonna have to order some more. Sure, they're only bump stops. Just more time, innit? But balls. I have important news. These are inverted. Why couldn't we find the bump stops? They don't exist externally. They're inside. I looked back at the video, couldn't see me removing one. Looked at the TUV certification for these. There's no bump stops mentioned anywhere. And a few people on my Instagram made me aware of it without calling me stupid, which was nice. The bump stop, because this damper is actually, it doesn't look it, but it's actually upside down. This is actually the bottom. This is actually the top. Yeah, there's actually a bump stop inside here. So, alrighty then. Okay, we can build the coilovers now. So, this is like the top mount camber slidey plate. This is a mixture of dirt, and it's just not gonna come off. I mean, I could probably scrub this whatever's baked into it off, but I think we're just gonna end up with raw aluminums. Like it's gonna take the fixture, the coverage with it. Does that make sense? I'm just gonna leave it. Like, you're not gonna see it anyway. I'm not fucking bothered about that. It's clean on the bottom. Wow, we got some rare oxidization there. Look, maybe we should have just bought new top mounts. Anyway, oh, in the TUV manual that I found last night, actually has all the torque specs for everything. So that's good. We can do everything up to spec. So those little nuts that hold the top mount bearing in. It's talking about some washers there that I don't think I have. Huh. Wait, it's not even talking about the bearing at all. Oh, here we go. No? Why is it talking about nut? Oh, that's the rear one. Wait a minute. This is definitely the one for the M3 limousine and cabriolet. Right, it's definitely the right one. The TUV certificate for E46 M3 Club Sport. It only talks about the torque specs for the actual top mount that goes through the chassis. They're not talking about the bearing down here. They don't even recognise that those bolts exist. So I guess we're guessing. Although it says those top ones should be 11 foot-pounds. Only 15 foot-pounds on the top. What? I don't know, man. That seems like not a lot to me. All right, I just cleaned up the heads on these bolts, and I can just about make out that these are apparently 10.9. So a 10.9 M8 on BMWs. I mean, it's just a bolt. A bolt's a bolt, right? But I've got this handy little manual on my phone, which tells you, roughly what the torque spec of each bolt would be. So an M8 10.9, 34 newtons. This is quite a handy little guide. I found it on the M3 forum. It's not 100% though. I found some things, what it says here is different to what other places say. Someone's handcrafted this. It's pretty cool. Like, I've been using it a lot, but it's not always 100%, so I do tend to double check, but it's pretty good. Anyway, what was that? 34, was it? M8, 10.9, 34. I used to use one of them, but it was from John Deere. But, it's fine to do stuff like that. I think it's just bolts, right? Obviously, there's going to be some other considerations for, what you're actually screwing into and shit like that. But at the end of the day, bolts be bolting, right? We'll just clean the head of this one because it's the ugly duckling compared to the rest. That's a bit better. That feels pretty tight. Actually, 34 doesn't feel that bad once you hold it down properly. Cool. All right, the dust boots. We had a little problem with one of them. This was all mangled. We managed to straighten it up a little bit and clean it up a little bit, but in doing that, we gave it a little speaking hole.
Oh no!
And yeah, I can't replace these. I found some similar ones that would probably work, right? But I thought, yeah, does it really matter that much? Maybe not. The car's not going to see a lot of road, but I'm just going to try and stick it back together with the Parkside soldering iron. Turn that up to max. Probably don't need it on max, but... All right, so the idea here is that we warm up the plastic and then maybe, is that getting warm? It's getting warm. And then maybe it'll just be friends again, you know? We can split it open a little bit. Alright, it's getting warm. I don't know how I stop it from sticking to the soldering iron. That'd be a good one, wouldn't it? Maybe we should just close it and go over the top. I don't know, it's kind of got worse before it's got better. Well, it's a little bit better. Let me try and do this without freestyling. Oh no, that's a lot worse. That is definitely not what I wanted to happen. It's got a lot worse, hasn't it? Alright, well that didn't work obviously. What if I put a cable tie in there somehow and then try and melt this to it and seal it that way? Is that going to work? It's gone from bad to worse. Bloody hell, managed to burn through it. Maybe the heat's too high. Okay, new plan. I'm fairly sure this is how they do it in the factory anyway. Alright, you weren't recording for a while and I didn't realise, but yeah, it's assembled. Was a good move with the using the soldering iron as an iron to flatten out the tape. I think that's going to hold pretty good. What a mongrel of a coilover, right? What a mongrel of a coilover. Wow. These have been very truly to this channel, I guess. They have been bastardized. Anyway, let's finish them off and build the second one. So I've just wound the springs down enough just so I can get this top thread threaded. Time marches on. Yeah, close enough. So I think that's how that must go. Feels like there should be a washer between those, but I can't see anything. So everything came out, went into this box. There's nothing in this box. I don't know who said that, but there's nothing in that box, so I'm not going to worry about it. I might want to put that on first though, since I've just spent ages cleaning them. Alright, we'll double check the torque of these on the car if we can. Sometimes we might not be able to reach, but mongrels. Absolute mongrels. Alright, there's one thing that still needs doing before we can start fitting nice things, and that is these bushers that go at the back of the front control arms, often called the lollipop bushers or the front control arm bush. They currently have some polyurethane inserts which have been on the car for a while now. There was a bit of slop in them, so they were due a change. We're actually changing to these guys, which are from a company called Milway Motorsports. Okay, so it's a billet aluminium housing and a Delrin bush. Okay, so we can get rid of the center for now because it's only that outsidey piece that we need for the time beings. This bit. But first of all, we need to get the poly out. So we're just going to pull this out with the tool that we've been using this way out. I think that looks like a much harder surface. And then we'll give them a bit of a clean and then install the new bushers. So I've already started because I got carried away. I forgot I was doing the YouTube thing again. But yeah, these are coming out pretty easy. There we go. Just wanted to make sure I can remember which way these go. So that goes up against the car. So this is the front and this is the back. So the back is the clean side, although we're going to clean them, so I'll mark. Oh, okay, so the back's got these recessed holes because they fit onto, there's some little, can you see any of this? There's these little dowels that it locates on. So that's the rear, okay. Easy. All right, I gave these a little clean up. Nothing show and shine. Interestingly, and tell me if this is normal, but do you see the hole inside, right? That looks like it's from the threads from the inside here. Does that mean that I've maybe used the wrong bolt and broken through? Because it doesn't look very clean. It looks like it's been broken and both sides are the same. Yeah, that's a bit weird, isn't it? It's also not very flat. Maybe I'll just try and maybe I'll just flatten that out a little bit. I don't know how tight fitting these new parts are, but that feels like could be a little bit of a problem. The rest of it's fine. Interesting. So these have got grease nipples on them, right? To grease between this outer part and then the inner sleeve, obviously, but I need to think about where those grease nipples are going to be. Are they going to be accessible? I think these bolts are accessible from under the car, so maybe we put the grease fitting on that. Let's see if we can get these to go in straight. And maybe I don't need to use a cup. Maybe I can find one that fits into the cup of this. Okay. I'm not sure what order this should go into that. Maybe we should have pressed it in all at once. Let me just try this on the arm and we'll see. That doesn't seem too difficult to get on. A lot of these are already kind of six-sided, but this one looks like it takes its own shape. It just says, I just read online there, it says to use methylated spirits whilst putting it on. Is that the same as white spirit? Are you methylated? Is that I don't know, what's the difference? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. That's all I've got. Spirit, it says spirit on it. All right, I think we would have been better pressing this in together. The reason I didn't do that was because when these are new, look, it just, you know. But when it's compressed in there itself, look, it's not wanting to do that. So I think it'd be better to push this back out and push it all in together. And I looked into the methylated spirits thing, right? And yeah, the white spirit is definitely not the same. It's just to kind of lubricate it going on. But what's weird about these, right? And remember, these are the posh ones. These are the expensive ones. Why is this not six-sided like on the Bimmer World ones and the Hard Race ones? They use a six-sided thing because the arm is six-sided, right? It's like a hex. Why is it not six-sided on that? And is that not going to be, you know, it's only going to be touching on the 6 points on the edge of a hex, right? So there's a hex key. Are any of the flats actually going to be, oh no, is it just going to be touching on the point? I don't know. They must have thought about it. I'm not sure. I'm not convinced, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm going to get this back out and push it all in together. I think that'll be safest. Okay, that's one. And they're almost in similar spots. There's a few degrees difference, but the grease nipples, yeah, whatever. No covers for the grease nipples. What? Why would you not have covers for them? They're behind the front wheels. Why have we not got little nipple covers? Oh, those threads are soft once you get down. It's only small though, isn't it? I don't have a grease gun. I'll buy one, you know, but I don't have one, so I'm gonna go and get some farm grease in here, I reckon, off my favourite man. I'll be honest, I already tried to fit the control arm because that's when I realised that obviously they're sided and I had it on the wrong side, but when I pulled it apart, this bush stayed on. So remember me saying it was strange how this Milway one, the Delrin, actually was circle. Well, it kind of deforms when it goes on, or it forms, let's say, to shape. So I'm not going to be able to show you, but it basically takes shape of the arm as it goes on, so that's good. It advised lubricating it with methylated spirits. I didn't have any. Maybe that's just to make it easier if the car's all together, because just by hand I was able to get it on, so maybe that's just a tip for when it's in the air. I didn't see the need for any lube, so. Oh yeah, these Lemforder arms, something interesting about them. So they are BMW spec, but look, they grind off the BMW logos. So if I grab one of my original ones, so can you see where it says 454, and it says 454 on this one as well. I don't know if you can make it out, but the M logo for M Power, back when it used to mean something, and the BMW logo is ground off. So that's funny, isn't it? Yeah, that's right funny, that. Thanks for showing us. It's weird, on one of the bushes is definitely a tighter fit than the other. This one, I can't really turn it. It's stressing the bush out. It's stressing the delving out, sorry, whereas on the other one I can move it around. Maybe we should grease it. Well, I want to install it. Looks like we're doing the other side first. I ended up getting those arms from Euros, and they're supposed to come with new nuts. One for the inside, one for the outside. I've only got I think that's the inside one. I'm missing an inside one, am I? Slightly bigger thread, yeah. So, I mean, that's annoying, but it does look like they're meant to be not reused, right? But wow, look at this. Parts are returning to the vehicle. Remember I said the back bush has these dowels. I'm struggling to get them lined up. Looks like the bush might need to go on a little bit more, but the bush is pretty happy where it is. It's not far off. All of these bolts have got copper slip on them from my copper slip era, maybe. I'm just going to leave it on, it's still there. It might help, I don't know. I'm not going to torque anything to spec, we're just going to nip it up. I'll try and torque it off to spec when it's at ride height. I mean, these are all, you know, there's no rubber in the way, but it's still nice to do it with a load on it. Make sure everything's sat where it wants to be, right? Although doing the inside nut of this ball joint, I don't know how I'm going to get to that with the steering and everything in the way, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Should they not be 16 mil? If I put the wrong bolts in? Oh, that's an 18, that's why. That feels a bit better. No washer on the inside one. No washer on the subframe. No, you don't normally have washers on ball joints, do you? Not really. No. It'd be nice if someone put a big roll bar in the way. Yeah, the Delrin's moving on this, which is not, it's not how it's supposed to be. Let's try some grease. Oh yeah, good grease fitment. Oh, it does fit. Is it coming out the back? Still, it's the Delrin that's moving and not the insert. I don't think that's right. All right, this is the other side, right? So I've just assembled it again just by hand. It's not hard, but look. I can turn and the center part, the shiny part, stays still, but it rotates in the housing, right? And that's why you add grease to make that rotation nice. The Delrin takes form around the arm and stays put. That's not what's happening on the other side. It's not even like they could be sided like a pair and I've mixed them up or anything, because I've already swapped it over once because I put it on the wrong side, right? And the Delrin was already formed. Was it this side or that side? So I just left, you know, just swapped around the outer housing. So that rules that one out. But yeah, there's something wrong with that other side. That's annoying. Because it should just rotate. Look, I mean, it's taking barely any effort. I mean, you grease it so that these components, it's metal on metal, right? You grease it so that it doesn't just wear away, obviously, but whatever. Okay, there's something going on. We need to take the other side off, but let's just get this on and then we'll have a look at it. Right, can you just see this writing on this bottom corner here? See how it moves? So this isn't even greased, right? This is just assembled. That's what the other side's not doing. There's too much friction between the insert and the, well, the silver part and black part, let's say, right? Let's have a look. Just before I strip the other side, I just greased this side and wow. That is some buttery action, look at that. Wow. Oh, don't need you. That is so good. All right, excuse the mess. I think what I'm gonna have to do is get this off. I mean, I'm playing with it now. It almost looks like it wants to move. I don't know. We'll take it apart, make sure everything's clean and try it again. I don't think I've got another choice really. I'm gonna get grease everywhere on my hands, aren't I? Yeah, so I can just lift so I lifted it off in one, obviously. That wouldn't happen if it was on the other arm, right? What would happen is the dowel ring and the insert would stay and the housing and the black part would come away, right? This is a housing for a housing. Now I need to get the middle part out, and again on the other one I would be able to just do it by hand, no problem at all, especially now it's greased, it would just slide out. It's got a bit of resistance, right, but it's not this much. So I might have to get our friend out again. I did put it all away, but needs must, I think. Is it out? No, a little bit more. That has to be it, right? No, a bit more? Jesus. I mean, it's not taking any effort, which is, I guess, a good sign, but there we go. But I mean, it shouldn't do, right? Shouldn't do. There's no bad scratches or anything on this. Or gouges, right? It just fits too good. Maybe some faint scratches, but they could be from machining, right? Obviously everything's covered in grease. I thought we might see some evidence of like scratching or whatever. I'm trying not to touch the bush. Oh, what can I do, man? I'm trying not to touch the dowel rings, you know? It's immediate that it gets the resistance. It's like it's trying to squash it. I should be able to, like, I'm pretty sure I should be able to do that by hand, because that's how the other one is. And that'll allow it to turn, right? But I mean, could there be something in the BMW side which is causing this to shrink? It doesn't seem right, does it? Would it shrink? Would it just not crack? Let's take this out of here and see if it fits in better, then we'll know that this is compressing it somehow. I don't know. It doesn't seem like logical to me, but greasy. Oh, this does have a few more witness marks on it. Quite a few. All the way around, really. So the tell now is going to be if this insert just slides straight in, right, and we can use it. Yeah. Yes. Ah, okay. So, housing. Something going on with the housing. Oh, there's a rough part. It's just where the... I'll tell you what. Do you remember me saying there was a rough part where this bolt goes through? I only cleaned it on one side. I didn't clean it on this side. I wonder if it's that all this time. Try not to get me camera greasy, but can you see? I mean, it's not really protruding, but it's definitely the roughest part. I'll just give it an extra good clean and just take away that, if there's any high spot there. Fingers crossed, eh? Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the part itself. It's something to do with my housing. It's squashing it, maybe, I don't know. Good news for grease fans.
Hey!
Maybe a little bit high there, but there's no reason at all for it to be. And there, but there's no reason for it to be. Well, the back's absolutely fine. There's something going on at the front, like here and here. Well, we've fixed other things by doing this, right? Alright, I've done a fair amount of filing now in my filing cabinet, and it still doesn't pass my homemade test, but it's better. I just want to try it. I wonder if this has all been caused by having the wrong size bolt in here. I don't know how else it would, how else would it happen? I will research that and put it on screen if I have got the wrong size bolt. Okay, so the exterior housing is once again in. The question is now, does the centre fit and rotate and be able to move freely? If not, I'm going home. If it does, I'm also going home. But what is that grease? Why is it red? I know it's free, so it doesn't really matter, but what's going on with that? That's better, isn't it? That's it. That's what it should have done a few hours ago. Oh, grease nipples are fun, aren't they? I never had experience with grease nipples before. Occasionally do the one on my trailer, but oh God, that is very occasionally. Alright, we do have a little problem now because everything's covered in grease, obviously, and I would prefer if the dowel ring wasn't greased. I think it's a strong enough material that, you know, the grease is not going to hurt it. Would it reduce its life? I don't know. But we want the centre of the arm to be stuck to that like glue, right? And we want this aluminum thing to move, whatever. What are the words? I think we can safely squirt some brake clean in there. Alright, it's not perfect, but there's no grease in the middle bit now. Fuck off. Maybe I should have just one vise always set up with soft jaws. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? This was easier on the floor. Okay, I think that's about it. Hey, look at that. It's happening, the thing is happening. This is staying still, this is moving. Perfect. Don't we want to see grease coming out of all of the... Oh, we can just about. Give it some grease. Might have to get him some grease, eh? I think I've used quite a lot there. Alright, I'm going to put it on the car now. And then degrease everything. Alright, this is now installed and functional. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay then, onwards. That was a fun little trick, wasn't it? That was my housing all along. I'm going to look up those bolts now. Yeah. So coilover goes in there. Annoyingly, the bolts don't stay part of the top mount, and the top mount is backwards to what it wants to be. Turn. Go. We also have the M3 cover plate thing, which goes onto the what do you call it? Strut bar thing. Is that for this side? Maybe we should give this a wipe. It's a little bit dust. No, we'll clean it on the car. Can't be bothered. So I now have to put one on and screw it through. Yeah, that works. It just fell straight out. Coilover. How about a hub? It's hard to video everything. Thanks for noticing. So probably gonna wanna put this on the shocker and then on the arm. Could do with another hand here if you don't mind. I need to lift the car up, which could shake it, which could cause all of this to fall off. I hope not. Nope, got away with it. Alright, well this is where the anti-roll bar goes, obviously. We need that to be kind of in the same position, parallel to where the actual anti-roll bar is, which it currently is not. So, take some pressure off. About there. Alright, I got the same anti-roll bar drop link adjustability as the MR2. But I don't have the right size bolts anyway, so I'm gonna have to order some bolts. I do have a bolt shop actually. We can go to a bolt shop, but it's one of those shops that gets expensive because there's lots of good stuff there, you know? A bit like going to Costco. Might be okay. Alright, these bolts are just temporary, just to get an idea of the right sizes. They might actually end up being alright. Obviously we're not at the road height yet. We can simulate that a little bit. Yeah, I think that should be alright. They are almost having all of the angle though. I'm not sure if there's a way around that. I feel like this should be further this way, clockwise a little bit, but are they just doing that because it's tight on here, or? I think this needs to still go up the shock a little bit more. You can just about get to the, I can't remember what blue does, but I know you can adjust it. Okay, maybe that's where it should be then. I was supposed to make sure they worked whilst we were rebuilding, but I didn't. There is a lip at the bottom and it's sat in it, so... You know, I didn't buy new bolts or brackets, but I have got an order with BMW, which I've ordered the secondary air pump delete stuff from them. Maybe I could order a new bolt, I guess. That's not how that goes. Does that go inside or outside? That bracket thing. The brackets... I feel like that maybe... Does that go between the bit that squeezes together? I forget. I'm going to have to look that up. Apparently that's right, but this isn't fitting. The old wheel speed sensor. So it should go in there. But if it's in there, then it's not going to go in there. Oh, it's going to be tight. Alright, no, that does fit. The steering arms that I've got are a bit fancy. I don't know if I've shown these yet. Bump steer kit from VAC Motorsports. I mean, I was trying to avoid dropping everything on the floor, but sometimes you've just gotta. We'll come back to that, but you kind of get the idea. I hope my wheels are gonna fit. I need to research that, because maybe just guessing on something like that's not the best, but that looks like it's gonna be close to the wheel. I don't know. I bet there were a few of you who were concerned that this might not fit after doing the wheel bearing, right? This top one's not sitting right. Oh, it's threaded. Maybe that's meant to be on the other side. I don't know if this is meant to be up here. I'll have a look. Alright, I do have a slight problem going to fit the other side, right? So these top mounts, they're not like what we've had with BC Racing and stuff in the past, right? So the top mount itself is slotted. We're not adjusting camber by moving the strut at all. The strut's kind of fixed, although I guess it moves all as one. And I don't know if this is factory or not, but the way I received these coilovers was with coach bolts, right? I presume that's just a standard size coach bolt. I don't know much about this world. These are for doing timber and stuff, aren't they? But it's a grade 8.8, so like someone's thought about it a little bit, right? And long story short, I only have 2 of them for this side, so I have 5 total, but we need 6. And it looks like in the past, me or someone has just put a normal bolt in there, but what's the difference between a bolt and a coach bolt there? Well, it'll move just the same. And it's kind of tight on the threads, so it's probably alright, you know, it's pretty tight on the threads still. And it can still move, but the coach bolt, and I'm calling it a coach bolt because that's what it is, right? That has the little square bit at the bottom, right? And that fits in here proper, right? It's tight. It also allows you to nip up the nut without having to put a spanner underneath. So anyway, long story short, I'm trying to find a replacement for this. And obviously a coach bolt's a pretty common thing, right? Screw fixing, tool station, all that, I've got them. But they're not rated, so they're all just like home stuff. They're not 8.8 or even 4.8. I can't find any decent specs. Now, Bezos reckons his are 8.8. So, I mean, that's going to be the last chance, last straw, last option, final solution. But I don't know. That last resort is what I was thinking of. I'd like to find a reputable. I don't want to really risk, so there's not really a lot of stress on them, I guess. But at the same time, you know, I'd rather. You know, we're just fixing the top mount to the car, right? The stress of everything goes through the full plate itself. But still, these bolts, we can't just put normal bolts in, right? What did I put in before? At least I put an 8.8 in. I don't know if that was me or if I got it like this, but yeah, long story short, I need to replace that. And because the coilover is the first thing to go on, I'm going to go home and make some tea. Alright, just for now, I've fitted the coilover just with that one bolt where there should be what I guess is a coach bolt. I did a little bit of research last night, and getting a high tensile coach bolt is yeah, it's gonna have to be an ordering job, I think. There is a bolt shop I'm gonna try tomorrow, see if the bolt shop's got anything. But let's proceed anyway. So I've got the front suspension on this morning. I had some udon noodle something last, I can't remember what it was, but I didn't sleep very well, so I'm blaming that. Remember how, I don't know if I mentioned or not, I must have mentioned, but normally struts on E46s, because there's this little pinchy area at the back, right? Because there's that pinchy area, normally struts have two forks or have some kind of fork of locking it between. No! I thought there's usually a pin on the coilover, which once you put the bolt in, it kind of locks onto. And I thought that's what just happened, but no. So can you see in there, there's an area, right? There's a slot. There's a slot. Oh, come on, please. Anyway, these coilovers don't have that. So it's kind of free game where I put that. Maybe they don't have it for a reason, I don't know. These are the Gucci ones, remember? Maybe there is a motorsports reason. But anyway, what I'm deciding to do now, and what I'm checking out, is how the anti-roll bar drop link can dictate where this sits. Okay, so if you just take note of, tell you what, let's do a, I might live to regret this, but in the name of science, right, I'll put a little blue dot there and a little blue dot there, okay? In the name of science. So you can see this little blue marker, right? So this is loose at the minute, but this is tight. The roll bar is tight. So watch what happens when I turn it. Okay, so there's a bit of binding to start with. Like, it doesn't feel very good, that. It feels like that's going to cause a lot of resistance. But then when I go all the way to the right, see if I'm turning full lock right, it actually moves the hub. Now this might be past the point of steering, right? So maybe I should put a steering arm on and do it, but do you see it moving again? Now it's joined back up, but when it's all the way around this side, it does move. So can you see how now it's not lined up? So, what's going to be the best position? Well, I think we just have to think about this logically. So the steering's never going to go more than about that, is it? It's probably never going to go about more than that. And it only really moves when I go past that, which I'm not going to do really, right? So that first position that I had it is probably good, is what I've decided. I am worried about these coming loose. I'm definitely worried about them coming loose, but be right, won't it? Alright, we'll get new bolts from the bolt shop for this anyway. Hopefully we'll get the new coachy bolt as well. Let's just see what it's like on the other side for bindings. So I've just disconnected the steering arm. I guess I'll give you a view in there. So on this side I didn't realise about the binding stuff, right? But, ooh. So the other side doesn't want to turn left. This one doesn't want to turn right. So it's something to do with, is it to do with the caster as well maybe? I don't know. It doesn't actually look that different. I don't know, maybe we should wait until we have the steering stuff on to know for sure what's going on here. Interesting though, something else to think about. Let's just keep thinking about stuff. No, let's stop thinking about stuff and let's start reassemblings. Alright, I've been looking at this, these anti-roll bar drop links for a little while. It seems kind of not right. Okay, let me just show you. I kept one of the original, well, I kept the original one. So these are what were on it before. These are from an E46 M3. I don't know if it's Evo or not, but these are shorter than the standard M3 ones. It was a common thing to do back in the day when you lowered your E46 to put E36 drop links on because they're shorter. Long story short, the length is about the same as expected, of course, but thinking about it, I do remember there being like binding on the steering, and maybe it was always just this. Maybe it's the angle. Maybe now that we're on these custom jobbies, maybe I can space it out a little bit more so that's straighter. I don't know. I don't know what I'm thinking out loud here. You're listening, right? That's what's happening. I'm using my mouth to think. But what about if I spaced this out or spaced this in? This might be closer to the wheel. Maybe you don't want to do that. But what about if we spaced this top out a little bit? Is that going to help the binding? But this is still going to want to rotate, obviously. But like on both sides, the hub doesn't want to go in, right? So on this side, it's wanting to turn right. There's a binding. I'll happily go left, but it won't want to go right. It's the same on both sides, right? So what's happening? What forces are at play? Why is it? Because the steering's not connected, right? So all we're fighting against here is the roll bar at the other side, obviously, is connected, but that's trying to lift the roll bar up a little bit, and maybe it's just the other side trying to pull it down. Whereas when I turn this way, there's no... Maybe that's all it is. It's almost like that's like a neutral position, but it's easier to go that way than it is to go that way. Just out of curiosity, I've got a long bolt in this anyway. I'm going to space it back, and we'll see if that's any happier. Because all I'm thinking is that binding, if that's twisting this, then I don't want the drop links to come loose, right? That's what I'm thinking. Right, so I'm just going to use washers for now, just to space it out a little bit. Right, this is 5 2mm washers. Right, I'm going to put them at the back. So that's the washers. Maybe this puts more stress on the bolt as well that we don't want to do. We've got budget. I'm going to put a few more washers in. Well, it's still not exactly straight. I mean, it's a lot straighter, but maybe we could space the bottom out as well. I don't know. How much? Let's see if this has made a difference. So before, turning left was fine, and it still is. Is it now any better turning right? It is. Wow. Did I just do a science? I did a science all in my head. A full science all in my head. That's way better. But how can we actually do that properly? Can we actually get a spacer and a longer bolt? How much stress is that going to put on the bolt itself now that we're putting all that force at the end of it? I mean, if it's clamped, right? This is currently a 8.8. So maybe we'll put like a super high tensile bolt in, and then that has fixed the issue though. No more binding. I mean, still a little bit. Let's put I'm going to put a very long bolt in, right? And I'm going to get that straight. I'm going to get it straight and see if that just eliminates all binding. BRB. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So roughly 44mm of spacing later. And it's pretty straight now. I've not had a spirit level on it, but the question is, does this eliminate all bindings? And the roll bar is still connected at the other side, but does this eliminate all bindings? I am very curious. It does. So it is still connected to the other side, obviously, but that feels way better. There's still a bit of resistance in the center. Let's compare it against the other side. It just feels horrible. There's so much tension there. It's hard to push past it even. I think I've got to figure this out. I'll maybe Google it, but That seems to be the way, right? So if you look at the angle of the drop link there, it's... Hey, this strut's further around as well as it moved. Anyway, I'm going to look into this. This is interesting, isn't it? I mean, obviously we can't go around with 24 washers there. I'll have to get something built maybe, but is that allowed? I don't know, it seems like a funny place for some tension. We've got this big nut for the hub that needs doing up. I think it needs to be done to like 300 newtons or something crazy. I did wrap these up, but maybe they were rusty before. I think that's the direction, right? Into the sea with the motion. Is that it? I think that's it. It's not that way, is it? Yeah, it's that way. I think we're good. I can't find the disc retaining screws. Oh, we don't need them, right? But they're nice to have. I like having things like this. They were definitely there. I remember taking them out. Where have they gone? Well, that's annoying. I can't find them. We'll come back to that. I do have some new studs though, so let's install the studs and then we'll just put some nuts onto... Oh, I'll just put and nuts, just so we can locate this. I mean, it's pretty good, but when we're putting the caliper on and stuff, it's nice to make sure the disc's properly down, right? A little bit of Loctite, and we don't actually screw these in that heavy, like, I can't remember what the recommended is, but maybe like 20 Newton meters or something. It's not a lot. These studs are from Dark Sides. I've had them ages. Bought them years ago. They're not very big, but we'll never run spaces on the front, I don't think, so it's not an issue. We can get away with, I think, a 10 or a 12 mil spacer, but it's not really a thing that we're interested in. Alright, so we're just going to do an initial torque of 18 to 20 foot-pounds as a recommendation. I've gone for 27 newtons because 27 club's funny, isn't it? Cool. Yeah, all the dead people. Although this would definitely be easier with something to stop the disc rotating. Yes. This is how you get juddery brakes if you wanted them, by the way. I'm just going to do this up finger tight so that it just keeps the disc on. That's all I'm worried about. Alright, disc secured. So these are the caliper brackets. For some reason the washer, these are billet aluminium. And yeah, the nut heads aren't perfect, but the washer's the rustiest part. So let's put some new washers on. New washers. Right, so the torque for these is 110 newtons. Oh, that's tight. Maybe I need a bigger torque wrench. Yeah. Heavenly. Jesus. Right, the calipers are sided. They're the same caliper, obviously, but the difference is whether or not you hit the big piston first or the smaller piston. So if that goes on here, and then the wheel rotates and you would hit the smaller piston first, which I think that's how it's meant to be, so I think that's the left side. I think, am I wrong? Small piston first, or big piston first. Back to the Google. Right, I think I was correct in suggesting that these should contact the disc first, right? Imagine the disc's going this way, so the little guy will hit it first. Apparently this should be closer to the inside of the disc, and this should be closer to the outside of the disc. But in reality, it's the middle one that's furthest out. But I think I was correct in my assumption, so let's put this on. So these are less torque, these are 65 newtons. Although we're going into a block of alley, the same as the other ones, and they took 110. I don't know, maybe we could do 110 again, but I don't want to risk deforming the caliper. We'll go 65. I haven't fitted any pads yet because I just wanted to make sure that those screws still work. Seems okay. I mean, these didn't get a lot of use, really. You can tell by the pads, there's still loads of meat on the pads. Sorry, I keep having to play with the exposure depending on where we are, and then I forget to change it back. Yeah, look at the pads. There are loads on them. Looking a bit weathered. Maybe I'll give them a quick Unit 4 cleanup, I think. That's better, isn't it? Was a little bit worried about this. Let's try a different pad. So when I was putting the brake depressing tool on, I didn't have pads in, did we? Do you remember doing that? So some of the pistons have just popped out a little bit, which is going to be annoying to fix. And we might get lucky, so I'm just going to force the piston back in. It's the middle one that's poking out a little bit. And fluid's pissing out at the line, so that's a good sign in this situation, as long as it's not getting on my new parts, which it's not. There we go. I don't remember the torque spec on these, but I remember it's not a lot. That'll probably be enough. Yeah. Click. Click. Alright. Now we just have the line to link back up. This one was the one that was seized, so it's going to be a bit of a faff to put back together. No problem at all, pal. Well, that was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. The only thing I'm a little bit concerned about is this brake hose. So you can see it comes out of the caliper. Comes out of the caliper there and goes straight up, but if this was on more of like a, say if it's on a 90 degree now, if it's on more like a 45, I think it'd be a little bit happier. I mean, it's been like that a while, but then again the car's not been driven that much, has it? I might sacrifice the washers that are on it and just reposition that. Obviously it needs bleeding anyway, so I think I'd be happier if that was more of an upward angle. See what the other side looks like. Yeah, on this side it is a little bit more like that, so I'm going to replicate it. I'll do the other side as well. I'll just get cracking now. How long's this video been? We're not even tested it yet. Crikey. Alright, it might not look it, but I had a big tidy up, and the front suspension is pretty much there. I need to figure something out on the drop links, but I've made a discovery on that as well. Something that those 22 washers were hiding. I'm once again going to go home and have some tea, would you believe? Funny how fast time goes when you're having fun, maybe, but yeah, I've got the arch liners back in, the brakes are on and everything. Brakes still need bleeding, but what the discovery was, basically there was an adult up here earlier, right? And what we found was that the reason for a lot of the binding is actually that this is maxing out. There's some washers on there, they're called...
misalignment.
What are they called? We tried to think earlier. Shit, I just fucking looked it up as well.
Misalignment.
They're called something, right?
Misalignment.
There's still going to be a bit... I still like them to be straight though. I still might space them out. We'll see. I think maybe doing both of these things would be good. But yeah, nearly back together. I'm going to order... I've got a load more stuff to order. I need to order some more tools as well because I want to torque everything up right, and I can't get to a few places, so I have to buy a special torque thing. But yeah, pretty... No, I wouldn't say I'm happy with the progress, but it looks like more of a car again.
Well, that's it then. You made it to the end. Congratulations and thanks for watching. I'm going to make another video, as I said, doing the oil cooler, power steering lines, and there's a lot more to come. Like I said at the start, there's so much time and there's so much hours, so many hours of content was recorded. Let's have a few before and afters of the stuff that was done in this video.
So the front suspension, everything in the wheel arch area was given a right good tidy up. New bearings, new arms, new bushers, new springs, well, not quite new springs. Anyway, to be continued.